Chapter 34-57. If it was someone else, he would definitely not hesitate to take out the divine sound transmission stone and establish a contract bridge. But this woman had the ability to peek into the void and distinguish between the real and the fake. What if she could also sense his location through the contract bridge? Then, wouldn't this woman be able to grasp his whereabouts at any time? But, if he didn't establish a contract bridge, it would indeed be difficult to contact in the future. And there was also a greater risk. Because he didn't establish a contract bridge, he would have to get someone to pass the message or communicate in advance to set a fixed place to meet. In this way, there were many possibilities. For example, if he got someone to pass the message, it would easily expose the people around him. Another example would be a fixed location. What if this woman asked him to meet and ambushed him in advance? Therefore, this matter had to be handled carefully. Aren't you being too cautious? I'm already like this, can't you trust me? The silver-haired woman looked at Qin Feiyang, who didn't move for a long time, her face full of helplessness. It's better to be safe than sorry. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly and finally thought of the best way. He transmitted his voice, "Fire Lotus, give me an unused divine sound transmission stone." "Okay." Fire Lotus replied. When Qin Feiyang bought the divine sound transmission stone in the Demon Tower, he bought a total of 1,000 pieces, and the people and beasts in the Devil's Land added up to less than 100, so there were still a lot left. Soon, Qin Feiyang concealed it a little and took out the divine sound transmission stone, generously establishing a contract bridge with the silver-haired woman. The silver-haired woman's face also crawled with a smile, then put away the divine sound transmission stone, looked at Qin Feiyang and said, "I'll give you the first information. The prince you want to find is indeed the prince of the Golden Dragon clan. He's the eldest among us princes and princesses, so we all call him Big Brother." "What else?" Qin Feiyang asked. "At present, he is still rebuilding his body in the dragon nest, but it won't take long because the time array of our dragon nest is 5,000 years a day. When he rebuilds his body, he will definitely come out of the dragon nest to settle the score with you." The silver-haired woman said. "What? Your dragon nest also has a 1-day, 5,000 years time array?" Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf were shocked. The silver-haired woman was slightly taken aback. She asked suspiciously, "Why would you say that? Could it be that you also have a time array that lasts 5,000 years in a day?" The man and wolf didn't answer. This was because they naturally couldn't expose their weaknesses to their enemies. Although they were working together now, they would definitely fall out in the future. "Looks like you guys aren't simple." The silver-haired woman looked at the man and wolf meaningfully and continued, "This big brother of mine is ruthless and vengeful. When he comes out of the dragon's nest, he will definitely bring some experts with him. He might also let these people hide in spatial divine items, so you'd better be mentally prepared." "Will you bring a sovereign weapon?" White-eyed Wolf asked. "Do you still need to ask? You have 2 sovereign-level divine weapons. If he doesn't use his sovereign-level divine weapon, how is he going to fight you?" The silver-haired woman said. Qin Feiyang said, "Then can you tell us about your dragon nest's background? What do you think?" The silver-haired woman asked with a hint of mockery in her eyes. Qin Feiyang nodded helplessly. "All right, pretend I didn't ask. But I have a question that I believe won't make things too difficult for you." "What question?" The silver-haired woman was suspicious. Qin Feiyang asked, "There's a fire dragon in the inner region. What's its relationship with you dragons?" "Fire dragon?" The silver-haired woman was stunned. After pondering for a while, she said, "You mean the fire dragon that came from the lower world?" "Yes." Qin Feiyang nodded. "It has nothing to do with us dragons. It's also because of the dragon god that we dragons let it stay in the inner region. Speaking of which, you should know it better than us. After all, I heard that you guys are old rivals. The silver-haired woman smiled. Hearing this, Qin Feiyang lowered his head and pondered for a while. A cold light flashed in his eyes. He looked at the silver-haired woman and said, "Since it has nothing to do with you dragons and we're in a cooperative relationship now, why don't you do me a small favor and find a chance to trick it out?" "No problem." The silver-haired woman nodded. "Straightforward. All right then, inform me immediately if there's any information." Qin Feiyang admired this woman. She had wisdom, courage, and means. He believed that their future cooperation wouldn't be too tiring. "All right." The silver-haired woman nodded again. Qin Feiyang turned to the white-eyed wolf and said, "Let's go." The white-eyed wolf waved its claws and a space-time transmission channel appeared. Qin Feiyang was about to enter when he suddenly stopped. He turned to look at the silver-haired woman and said, "There's one more thing. Other than the Eye of Heaven, is there anyone else in your dragon clan who has activated the other 9 great battle souls? Why are you asking about this?" The silver-haired woman was stunned and then said, "Could it be that there are other people around you who have also opened the 9 strongest war spirits?" "That's none of your business," Qin Feiyang said. "I'll think about whether I should tell you about this after you kill my big brother." The silver-haired woman smiled. "All right." Qin Feiyang nodded and then walked into the space-time transmission channel with the white-eyed wolf without looking back. "I can't see through him, I really can't see through him." The silver-haired woman looked at Qin Feiyang's disappearing figure and muttered to herself. When the space-time transmission channel disappeared, a hoarse voice suddenly sounded in the silver-haired woman's body. "There's someone you can't see through? My war spirit isn't omnipotent. Although I can see through falsehood, I can't see through a person's heart." The silver-haired woman smiled bitterly. "Huh." The hoarse voice laughed and then was silent for a while before asking, "Do you really want to do this?" The silver-haired woman was stunned and immediately lowered her head. She was silent, but there was a shocking cold light in her eyes. "It seems that you still haven't walked out of the shadow of that incident." The hoarse voice sighed. "I want to, but I can't. I can't get over the hurdle in my heart. A blood debt must be repaid with blood." The silver-haired woman clenched her hands and said with a bone-piercing chill. The hoarse voice fell silent. After a long time. "No matter what you do, I'll support you. However, you have to know your limits. Qin Feiyang is smarter than we thought. Don't be used by him in the end." The hoarse voice warned. "I know." The silver-haired woman nodded and then released her hands. She laughed and said, "It's not that easy to use me, is it? You little girl." The hoarse voice could not help but laugh and then fell silent. The western mainland. Somewhere on the edge. Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf appeared out of thin air. The white-eyed wolf looked at the divine sound transmission stone in Qin Feiyang's hand and asked, "This doesn't seem to be your divine sound transmission stone?" "Of course not. This is a new one. I asked the fire lotus to give it to me." Qin Feiyang looked down at the divine sound transmission stone and said with a smile. "Huh? Is there any difference?" The white-eyed wolf was suspicious. "Of course there is." Qin Feiyang nodded and said with a smile, "Let's go to the heavenly cloud sea." "Where is Little Rabbit?" The white-eyed wolf was suspicious. "No, anywhere is fine." Qin Feiyang smiled. "Okay." The white-eyed wolf opened another space-time transmission channel. Soon. The two arrived above a sea area, and this was the place where the white-eyed wolf and the others were fighting with the dragons. Qin Feiyang glanced at the sea area and released his divine will. After a while, he sensed the aura of a sea beast nearby. Swish! Immediately after, Qin Feiyang took a step forward and landed above the sea area. With a point of his finger, a wisp of divine power appeared and blasted into the sea area. Roar! Accompanied by a furious roar, a sea lion that was over 300 meters in size roared out of the water with a monstrous aura, causing huge waves to surge up into the sky. "Brother, calm down." Qin Feiyang hurriedly waved his hand. The sea lion was stunned and looked at Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf, and said in surprise, "It's you guys? You know us?" The white-eyed wolf was suspicious. "Qin Feiyang, who doesn't know?" The sea lion smiled. "Am I so famous?" Qin Feiyang couldn't help but laugh. "Of course. But, what are you doing here in my territory?" The sea lion looked at Qin Feiyang suspiciously. "I want to ask you for a favor." Qin Feiyang smiled. "I see." The sea lion nodded and pondered for a while, then said, "Then tell me, as long as I can help, I will try my best to help." Qin Feiyang handed the divine sound transmission stone to the sea lion. "What do you mean?" The sea lion looked at the divine sound transmission stone and looked at Qin Feiyang suspiciously. "Help me keep this divine sound transmission stone safe. If someone sends a message to this divine sound transmission stone in the future, inform me immediately." Qin Feiyang said. "Why do you want me to keep it safe for you?" The sea lion was puzzled. The white-eyed wolf said discontentedly, "Just keep it safe for now. Do you know that little rabbit on Sky Cloud Island? That's little Qin Zi's sworn brother. Can't you give him some face?" "Ah, you and Master Rabbit are sworn brothers?" The sea lion looked at Qin Feiyang in surprise. "Yes." Qin Feiyang nodded. "Really? It will be sworn brothers with you humans?" The sea lion was a little skeptical. Qin Feiyang smiled and said, "If you don't believe me, you can ask." "Forget it, I can't afford to offend it." The sea lion shook his head quickly, then took the divine sound transmission stone and said, "Okay, I'll keep it safe for you, but you have to make it clear first. Don't cause me trouble." "Don't worry. Besides, with the beast god protecting you, what are you afraid of?" Qin Feiyang laughed. "That's true. Just today, weren't you fighting with a group of people nearby? In the end, those people came to catch me and asked me to tell them the coordinates of White Crane Island. There was a young man who wanted to kill me. In the end, he was punished by the divine beast and his body was shattered on the spot." "What a mess." The sea lion sneered. "What? The sea beast they caught at that time was you?" Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf were stunned. This was too much fate. Chapter 3458. "That's right." The sea lion nodded. "Ha, fate, fate." The white-eyed wolf laughed. It was such a coincidence that they met the same sea beast. The sea lion also laughed. No matter what, Qin Feiyang was someone worth currying favor with. Qin Feiyang glanced at the white-eyed wolf and said, "Since fate has brought us together, what are you waiting for? Hurry up and take out the divine wine and thank him." "Yes, yes, yes." The white-eyed wolf nodded repeatedly and took out 10 jars of black tortoise divine wine, placing them in front of the sea lion. "Divine wine?" The sea lion was stunned for a moment and looked at the 10 jars with suspicion. "This is a genuine divine wine," the white-eyed wolf said. "Is that so?" The sea lion suspiciously opened a wine jar, and a dragon shadow made of alcohol immediately rushed out of the wine jar. "It's really a divine wine?" The sea lion was stunned for a moment, then he hugged the jar in joy and smelled it with an intoxicated expression. "Seems like we're kindred spirits." The white-eyed wolf smiled. "Haha," the sea lion laughed heartily. Looking at the man and the wolf, he said solemnly, "From now on, your business is my business. Don't worry, from now on, I will protect this divine sound transmission stone." "Thank you very much." Qin Feiyang cupped his hands and smiled. You're welcome. The sea lion swung its claws and swallowed its saliva. Just as it was about to taste the black tortoise divine brew, it suddenly thought of something. It looked at Qin Feiyang suspiciously and said, I can't recover your divine sound transmission stone, so how will I know who is looking for you? You don't have to worry about that. There's only one contract bridge in this divine sound transmission stone, so you just need to inform me and I'll know who's looking for you. Qin Feiyang said. I see. The sea lion nodded and smiled, all right, let's establish a contract bridge so I can inform you when the time comes. You also have a divine sound transmission stone? The white-eyed wolf looked at the sea lion in surprise. What do you mean by that? Am I not worthy of the legend stone? The sea lion looked at the white-eyed wolf with dissatisfaction. No, no. The white-eyed wolf waved its paws and laughed, I just felt a little surprised. I thought that sea beasts don't need the rumor stone. You're also a vicious beast, so why do you need it? The sea lion asked. Ugh. The white-eyed wolf was stunned. He forced a smile and said, I'm sorry. I've offended you. No. We're just discussing a problem. There's nothing offensive about it. The sea lion shook its head. After Qin Feiyang and the sea lion established a contract bridge, Qin Feiyang smiled and said, all right then, we'll take our leave first. Take your time to drink. All right. The sea lion nodded. Qin Feiyang turned to look at the white-eyed wolf and said, let's go to Sky Cloud Island. The white-eyed wolf waved its paws and opened a space-time transmission channel. Then, a man and a wolf quickly walked in. They're actually going to the Sky Cloud realm. It seems that their relationship with Uncle Rabbit isn't simple. But what does this have to do with me? The sea lion muttered, then smiled, hugged the wine jar, and licked it slightly. So refreshing. It shuddered and raised its head, pouring the jar of black tortoise divine brew into its mouth. Sky Cloud Island. Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf arrived at the top of the mountain. The white-eyed wolf looked at Qin Feiyang suspiciously and asked, what do you mean by giving it the divine sound transmission stone? It's very simple. Let it be a transit station. In this way, even if the Princess of the Dragons can accurately locate our position through the divine sound transmission stone, she will only be able to locate the sea lion. And we can escape from her prying eyes. Qin Feiyang smiled. So it's like this. Then, aren't you harming the sea lion? The white-eyed wolf frowned. Harming? Didn't I just say that the beast god is overseeing the Sky Cloud Sea? Who dares to mess around here? So, it's absolutely safe. Qin Feiyang smiled slightly. That's true. The white-eyed wolf nodded, glanced at Qin Feiyang, and said contemptuously, you're really getting more and more treacherous. How can you say that? Is this treacherous? It's obviously smart. Qin Feiyang smiled narcissistically. It was rare for him to be so narcissistic. Shameless. The white-eyed wolf rolled his eyes, glanced at the top of the mountain, and asked suspiciously, where's the little rabbit? Why don't I see it? Didn't it say that it wanted to make some arrangements? Let's not disturb it. Let's go to the Black Tortoise world and see how the Fire Lotus is preparing. After Qin Feiyang finished speaking, he was ready to go to the Black Tortoise world, but suddenly glanced around and frowned slightly. What's wrong? The white-eyed wolf was suspicious. Did you notice that there are some traces of battle here? Qin Feiyang looked at the ground and asked suspiciously. Battle? The white-eyed wolf was slightly taken aback, speechless. Are you stupid? Why don't you think about who came here to make trouble? It should be that little rabbit alone. That's true. Qin Feiyang nodded. In the entire Sky Cloud realm, no one dared to make trouble on Sky Cloud Island. Outside. 3 days passed. And in the black tortoise world, it has been 3,000 years. Morning. Above the devil's land. Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf stood together. On the opposite side, there were thousands of people. For example, the Fire Lotus, Mermaid Princess, Tan Tai Li, Qin Rushuang, Zhao Tai Lai, Willow Tree, Chui Li, Dan Wangkai, Mu Tianyang, and so on. There were also Xia Yuan and the other 64 divine generals, Blood Qilin, Fire Dragon, White Jade Qilin, Black Dragon, Fire Lotus, Lei Bao, Hei Bao, and so on. Even Yi Tian, Zhua Tiansheng, Long Tianyu, Wang Xiaojie, Qin Chen, Zhua Xiaocheng, and Zhua Shaoxian were there. In short, 6,000 shadow guards, Wang Changyuan and the other 10 commanders, Pei Tianhong, and everyone in the Devil's Land, all the beasts were there at this moment, including Pai Lupi and Theta Wang. You all opened the door of potential. Qin Feiyang glanced at the group of people and said with a smile. Thank you, young master. The 6,000 shadow guards and the other 8 commanders nodded and bowed to thank him. Their faces were full of gratitude. They never thought that happiness would come so quickly. Originally, they were still pondering how to make Qin Feiyang satisfied with their performance so that they could open the door to their potential. However, all of a sudden, Huo Lian descended on the central state and said that she would help them open the door to their potential. For them, it was like a dream. Qin Feiyang asked, "The Fire Lotus should have told you about the situation, right?" Everyone nodded. "This is an opportunity that the white-eyed wolf and I fought hard to get for you. You must cherish it. I hope that the next time you appear, you will become a hero who can dominate a region." Qin Feiyang said. "We will not let you down, young master." The 6,000 shadow guards roared in unison with a determined light in their eyes. "Don't let me down. Don't let yourselves down. Humans have to work hard to move forward. To put it simply, if you don't make progress and just wait for death, what's the difference between you and a salted fish? I believe that none of you are willing to be a salted fish. In short, since you have appeared in this world, you must live your life vigorously. Our goal is not to rule the sky cloud realm, nor to defeat the dragons, but to break the rules of this world, transcend the laws of heaven and earth, and come to the outer world. Our fate must be controlled by ourselves. No one else is qualified." Qin Feiyang shouted. His words made everyone's spirits rise and their blood boil. He really knows how to stir up people's hearts. Mu Tianyang pursed his lips. "But you can't deny that his goal is great. And it is also my goal." Dong Zhengyang whispered. Mu Tianyang glanced at Dong Zhengyang and murmured, "That is to fight the heavens, the earth, and the god of creation. Are you afraid?" Dong Zhengyang asked. "Don't provoke me. I'm not interested in this. My only goal is to kill all of you, my fated enemies." Mu Tianyang coldly snorted. "We're your fated enemies?" Dong Zhengyang was speechless. He wanted to say, "Brother, is your brain rusty? You still haven't figured out the situation?" But after thinking about it, he decided to forget it. Everyone has their own ambitions. There was no need to force them. In that case, let's go out. Qin Feiyang smiled and waved his hand, leading a group of people to appear in the sky above Sky Cloud Island. Many of them had never been to Sky Cloud Island in person, so they looked at Sky Cloud Island, especially the spacetime crack leading to the lower realm, with a look of curiosity. "Senior brother, this is an opportunity to surpass me. Don't be lazy." Qin Feiyang looked at Madman and smiled. "Do I need you to tell me that?" Madman coldly snorted. Hearing this, the mermaid princess looked at Qin Feiyang and asked, "Feiyang, aren't you going to cultivate here?" "Me?" Qin Feiyang was slightly stunned. After pondering for a while, he said, "We'll see." Maybe I'll go to the other 3 forbidden areas. Just you alone? I don't agree. It's too dangerous. The mermaid princess immediately said. Qin Feiyang held the mermaid princess's hand, his face full of love, and said with a smile, I'll be careful. You don't have to worry about me. Follow Big Brother and cultivate well. Maybe I'll need you to save me. But, the mermaid princess frowned. Enough. It's not like you don't know his bad temper. Will he change his mind? Qin Rushuang glanced at Qin Feiyang and then looked at the mermaid princess. Sigh. The mermaid princess sighed and fell silent. Pei Tianhong glanced at Qin Feiyang and the others. His eyes flashed slightly as he looked at Qin Feiyang and said, Young master, since you're going to the other 3 forbidden areas, let me and Wang Chongyuan follow you. That's right. Old Pei and I have already comprehended 2 ultimates. We don't need to follow that little rabbit to cultivate. Hearing this, Wang Chongyuan immediately expressed his opinion. Are you satisfied already? You have to know that the followers of the princesses and princes have comprehended 2 ultimates. Not to mention the dragon's elders, patriarchs, and even Lord Dragon King. Their strength has definitely reached the peak of perfection. Thus, you all still need to work hard. Qin Feiyang said. But if you go alone, we won't be at ease. Pei Tianhong frowned. Thank you for your concern. But after being with me for so long, don't you know me? I won't die so easily. Qin Feiyang smiled. This, Pei Tianhong looked at Wang Chongyuan. Wang Chongyuan shrugged, indicating that there was nothing he could do. Pei Tianhong smiled bitterly, looked at Qin Feiyang, and nodded. All right, we'll listen to you. Qin Feiyang smiled, then looked at them one by one as if he wanted to imprint their faces in his heart. Chapter 34:59. Whoosh! With a piercing sound, the little rabbit appeared from the mountain below and landed in front of Qin Feiyang. Big brother, it's not much, right? Qin Feiyang chuckled. The little rabbit turned its head and the corner of its mouth twitched. This is not much? We have an agreement. Qin Feiyang was afraid that the little rabbit would change its mind and make everyone happy for nothing. Don't worry. Uncle Rabbit is a man of his word. The little rabbit waved its paw impatiently. Qin Feiyang heaved a sigh of relief and then looked at everyone with a smile. Why aren't you thanking Uncle Rabbit? Thank you, Uncle Rabbit. Everyone's face was full of smiles. Don't give me that. The little rabbit pursed its lips and then looked at Qin Feiyang with a mischievous smile, but to be honest, I have prepared a surprise for you. Surprise? Qin Feiyang was stunned. Madman and the others were also curious. This little rabbit was so powerful. The surprise it had prepared would definitely be extraordinary as well. But I can't tell you now. The little rabbit chuckled again. Qin Feiyang was stunned. Since it couldn't be said now, why did it say it? Deliberately whetting his appetite? Uncle Rabbit is deliberately whetting your appetite. You can slowly think about it, but Uncle Rabbit believes that you will never be able to figure it out. The little rabbit said proudly. Qin Feiyang rolled his eyes. With a wave of his hand, jars of black tortoise divine brew appeared in front of the little rabbit. There were at least 5 to 6 jars, piled up like a mountain in front of the little rabbit. So much? The little rabbit was stunned for a moment, then its eyes lit up and saliva flowed out. Is it a lot? I thought it was too little. If he had known, he would have taken out less. After all, those brewers had worked hard to brew this black tortoise divine brew. Not much, not much. It's not even enough to fill the gaps between my teeth. The little rabbit was stunned and quickly shook its head. Then, with a wave of its paw, the black tortoise divine brew in front of it disappeared without a trace. Its appearance was a little funny. Qin Feiyang was speechless and asked, "Then where are we going to cultivate?" "You?" When the little rabbit heard this, she swept her eyes over the group of people. She shook her head and said, "They can all go, but you cannot." "I can't go." Qin Feiyang was stunned and asked in unison, "Why?" Madman and the others also looked at Little Rabbit suspiciously. "If you go, then the surprise I prepared for you will be gone. Besides, aren't you going to the other 3 forbidden areas? How can Uncle Rabbit be so shameless as to waste your precious time?" The little rabbit bared its teeth. "You heard everything?" Qin Feiyang asked. "Of course. In the Heaven Cloud Sea, there's nothing that Lord Rabbit doesn't know." The little rabbit smiled proudly, and then urged, "Since you want to go to the other 3 forbidden areas, then hurry up and get on your way. Then I won't stay here to cultivate. I'll go take a look." Qin Feiyang said. He was really curious about this so-called surprise. "No." Bunny shook her head. Qin Feiyang's face darkened. He originally didn't intend to stay here to cultivate. He was purely curious about what kind of cultivation place Bunny had arranged for everyone. But now, he wasn't even allowed to take a look. This was too much. Bunny threatened, "Are you going or not? If not, Uncle Rabbit will go back on his word." "No, no, no, I'll go right away." Qin Feiyang hurriedly waved his hand. What was this? Then, he glanced at the white-eyed wolf and transmitted his voice, "You pretended to cultivate with it, what kind of surprise is it?" "No problem." The white-eyed wolf smiled sinisterly. This kid was still crafty. But at this time, Bunny seemed to have seen through the trick of the man and wolf and said indifferently, "Wolf cub, open the space-time transmission channel and get lost together." The man and wolf's expression froze. "Do you need Uncle Rabbit to personally send you off?" Bunny's eyes suddenly became unfriendly. No need, no need." Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf hurriedly shook their heads. What a joke. If it tricked them like last time and directly sent them to the resting place of the dragons, wouldn't that be a disaster? It was better to be tactful and obediently get lost. Qin Feiyang looked at Madman and the others and said with a smile, "Then you guys take care. You be careful too." Madman reminded. Qin Feiyang nodded. The white-eyed wolf looked at Bunny angrily and opened a space-time transmission channel. "Lord Ruler, wait." Suddenly, Pai Lupi and Theta Wang ran in front of Qin Feiyang and frowned, "We thought about it, we can't stay here to cultivate." "Why?" Qin Feiyang was suspicious. "Because Miss Fire Lotus, Black Panther, and the others have to stay here. If we also stay here, then who will care about the Black Tortoise world?" Pai Lupi said. "That's right. If no one cares about the Black Tortoise world, it will definitely be chaotic. Besides, the 2 of us don't come out to fight, and our talents aren't that good, there's no need to waste resources here." Theta Wang also said. "Just because of this?" Qin Feiyang asked with a smile. The 2 of them nodded. "Don't worry, the Black Tortoise world has already stabilized. Even if you guys aren't here, there won't be chaos like you imagined. As for fighting, talent, I never thought about it that way. Moreover, the reason why I asked you guys to come here to cultivate is not for you to follow me out to fight in the future, but to let you guys have a certain degree of self-protection in times of danger. Similarly, when we have no time to split ourselves, you can also help us protect the creatures of the Black Tortoise world. After all, what if one day our enemies kill their way into the Black Tortoise world?" Qin Feiyang smiled slightly. The 2 of them looked at each other, not knowing how to answer. "Just stay here with peace of mind. In the future, the Black Tortoise world will definitely need you guys to manage it. Work hard now is also building a foundation for the future." Qin Feiyang smiled. All right. Thank you, Lord Ruler, for your kindness. We will definitely work hard. The two of them bowed and said. Qin Feiyang nodded and patted their shoulders. Under everyone's gazes, he brought the white-eyed wolf and entered the space-time portal without looking back. You guys follow Lord Rabbit. But there's one thing you have to understand. Since you're going to cultivate with Lord Rabbit, you have to listen to Lord Rabbit unconditionally. Otherwise, if Lord Rabbit gets angry, even if Qin Feiyang and the little lunatic intercede for you guys, it's useless. Let's go. As soon as the little rabbit finished speaking, the group of people immediately followed the little rabbit in a grandiose manner and swept down towards the mountains below. This is too much. I think that surprise is just an excuse. In reality, it's afraid that we'll covet its divine item. In the sky above a certain mountain, the white-eyed wolf roared angrily. Qin Feiyang was slightly taken aback and asked suspiciously, "How do you know there's a divine item?" It's obvious. With its strength, how could it not have a few powerful divine items? The white-eyed wolf said. Enough. Anyway, we don't plan to stay. What's there to be angry about? What should we do? We should be grateful. I hope that everyone can be reborn again at its place. Qin Feiyang smiled. The white-eyed wolf pursed his lips and asked, "Then we'll go to the other 3 forbidden areas now?" There's no hurry. Let's go back to the Black Tortoise realm first and prepare some pills. If the other 3 forbidden areas also have restrictions, if we don't prepare in advance, we won't be able to move an inch. Also, I want to know where the princesses and princes of the dragons are currently resting. Let's see if there's a chance to kill 1 or 2. A cold light flashed in Qin Feiyang's eyes. This is a good idea. Let's kill their arrogance first. This brother has the spacetime law, so it's more convenient for me to come and go. I'll think of a way to investigate. The white-eyed wolf's eyes also flashed with cold light. Then you be careful. Qin Feiyang nodded. What a joke. If I can't even handle such a small matter, then wouldn't this brother's dignified reputation be undeserved? After the white-eyed wolf finished speaking, he began to use the spacetime law and quickly left. Dignified reputation? Undeserved reputation? Qin Feiyang was slightly taken aback. He reckoned that the word shameless was used to describe this guy. Swish. Immediately after, he also disappeared. The Alliance capital. You're back. In a quiet courtyard, the silver-haired woman looked at the 2 white-haired old women who walked in and said with a smile. N. The 2 nodded. How's the investigation? The silver-haired woman asked. Whether it's Xue Tiansheng and the other 2 or Zhao Xiaojin, there's no clue. It's as if they've disappeared from the world. The 2 shook their heads. Then there's no need to look. The silver-haired woman waved her hand. No need to look? The 2 were stunned. If there's no accident, these people must have met up with Qin Feiyang. So no matter how hard we try, it's impossible to find them. The silver-haired woman shook her head. This guy was really amazing. No matter what he did it flawlessly. It seemed that he didn't find the wrong person. He was someone who could be used. Hearing this, the 2 old women couldn't help but have a trace of anger on their faces. They had been busy for a few days, but it turned out that they had been busy for nothing. What about my brothers and sisters? The silver-haired woman pondered for a while and asked again. We haven't found their whereabouts. They should be hiding and plotting in the dark. The 2 said. It seems that they've finally learned to be smart. If they're all out in the open, it's impossible to deal with Qin Feiyang and the others. So, we must hide in the dark and wait for an opportunity to act. The silver-haired woman chuckled. Then do we need to hide? The 2 asked. We don't need to. Just wait and watch the show. As for next, you two go to the eastern continent and pay attention to my brother's movements. As soon as he leaves the Demon land and enters the eastern continent, inform me immediately. The silver-haired woman was quite calm when she said this, but the two old women could faintly feel a trace of killing intent. Your Highness, you're not thinking of taking this opportunity to... The two looked at the silver-haired woman in surprise. But before they could finish speaking, the silver-haired woman suddenly looked at the two of them, and an invisible and terrifying pressure was emitted from her. The two of them immediately stopped talking and lowered their heads, seeming to carry a trace of fear. The silver-haired woman stared at the two of them. At this moment, it felt as if something in the silver-haired woman's body was awakening, giving people a chilling feeling of horror. Chapter 3460. The atmosphere in the room was very solemn. The two white-haired old women were clearly perfect sovereigns who had mastered two types of profound meanings, but at this moment, their backs were quietly breaking out in cold sweat. It could be seen. They were really nervous now. But suddenly, the silver-haired woman smiled wittily and returned to her harmless appearance. She smiled and said, "You two have watched me grow up, and I also treat you as family, so you don't have to be so nervous when facing me. Your Highness is too kind." The two hurriedly smiled apologetically. "Okay. In the future, there are some things that you know in your heart, don't say it out loud. Let's go to the eastern continent." The silver-haired woman smiled. "Okay." The two nodded, opened the space-time transmission channel, and turned to leave. The silver-haired woman looked at the two, picked up the teacup, put it at the corner of her mouth, and gently sipped it. A faint blood light could be seen in her clear eyes. Black Tortoise Realm. Qin Feiyang stood above the ancient castle, looking at the current Devil's Land, and for a moment, he was somewhat unable to adapt. In the past, although everyone was busy cultivating and was relatively calm, at least he felt a sense of comfort in his heart that everyone was by his side and not alone. But now, as he scanned the empty Devil's Land and felt the deathly stillness, a sense of loneliness arose in his heart. Sigh. After a long time, Qin Feiyang sighed and entered the ancient castle's cultivation room. Everything here was the same as before. Moreover, whether it was the floor or the desk, there was not a speck of dust. Qin Feiyang knew that either Fire Lotus helped to clean it, or Pai Lupi helped to clean it. Although Fire Lotus and the others seemed to have not done anything these years, in fact, they had been taking care of him behind his back. It was just that these contributions were very difficult to see, and even if they saw it, no one would care. But in fact, these were the most important. This was because only by resolving the worries at the back could they concentrate fully and boldly fight outside without worry. Slowly get used to it. Qin Feiyang shook his head, walked to the altar, and was slightly stunned. On the altar, there were two pill furnaces. One of them was the former 7th grade divine furnace, the Heaven Flame Divine Furnace. As for the other pill furnace, he had never seen it before. Its size and shape were similar to the Heaven Flame Divine Cauldron. The only difference was the pattern on it. The totem of a giant flaming bird was engraved on the furnace. Every line was clear and full of charm. This was the divine beast Vermilion Bird. Qin Feiyang cut his finger and dripped a drop of blood to claim ownership. A stream of information immediately surged into his mind. The Divine Vermilion Bird Cauldron, a 10th grade divine grade pill furnace. This, Qin Feiyang was stunned. Since when did he have a 10th grade divine grade pill furnace? After thinking about it carefully, he remembered. This should be the pill furnace that Pei Tianhong mentioned back then. When they first entered the Devil Land, Pei Tianhong said that the Blood Hall not only had a lot of grade 9 and grade 9 divine pill fires and pill furnaces, but also a grade 10 divine pill fire and pill furnace. It seemed that Pei Tianhong was talking about this Vermilion Bird Cauldron. Suddenly, Qin Feiyang looked at the nether devil flame hovering above and couldn't help but be stunned. The aura of the nether devil flame had also become much stronger. After careful analysis, he found that it had been upgraded to the 10th grade divine grade. Not bad. A smile crept onto Qin Feiyang's face. Although he wasn't refining pills now, the fire lotus didn't forget him. It helped him upgrade the level of the nether devil flame and left him a pill furnace. I haven't refined pills for a long time, so I should be rusty. Qin Feiyang muttered and was about to refine pills, but suddenly looked at the iron box containing the 6-word divine formula and the pill scripture. There was a Qianquan bag there. Looking at the Qianquan bag suspiciously, Qin Feiyang picked it up and used his divine sense to look inside. He saw that there was a bag of pills inside. They were basically life-saving pills like the Divine Life Pill, the Divine Sun Pill, and the Yuan Hai Divine Pill. Suddenly, at the side, he saw a very neatly folded piece of paper. Qin Feiyang picked up the small note and opened it. "Young master, as long as you are lazy, I have refined pills for you in advance. Take them, don't be polite." Looking at this line of words, Qin Feiyang shook his head and smiled bitterly. This was Dan Wuxia's handwriting. It had to be said that this guy was really too considerate. Before leaving, he didn't forget to refine so many pills for him. However, was it because he was lazy that he didn't like to refine pills? It was clearly because he found it troublesome, okay? Thank you. Qin Feiyang muttered, raising his head to look at the vermilion bird cauldron in the nether devil flame, and laughed. It seems that in the future, I won't be able to use you guys. Don't complain, don't blame me, blame Dan Wuxia for being too outstanding. The vermilion bird cauldron trembled. The nether devil flame also jumped. It was as if it was looking down on Qin Feiyang. "Huh," Qin Feiyang laughed, turned around and walked out of the cultivation room, glanced at the hall of the castle, and then walked out of the castle in large strides. He then closed his eyes, and his perception quickly spread throughout the entire Black Tortoise realm. In the Sea of Blood, many creatures were donating blood. To be exact, everyone had never stopped. And the order of the major regions was still the same as before. Therefore, even if Pai Lupi, Theta Wang, and He Bao were not here, there would not be any chaos in the Black Tortoise realm. Suddenly, Qin Feiyang's expression froze for a moment, then lowered his head and muttered to himself for a moment. With a thought, 2 figures appeared in front of him. A middle-aged man and a middle-aged woman. When the 2 of them appeared in the Devil's Land, they were also a little stunned, but when they saw Qin Feiyang standing opposite them, their expressions suddenly changed, and their eyes were filled with fear. "Are you surprised? I will call you to the Devil's Land." Qin Feiyang looked at the 2 of them and smiled faintly. "N." The 2 of them nodded timidly. These 2 people were Pei Tianhong's son and daughter, Pei Dason and Pei Hongyu. Qin Feiyang asked, "Where did old Pei and the others go? Do you know?" "We know." The 2 of them nodded, their faces full of envy and yearning. "This matter has nothing to do with you, so don't be envious. However, for old Pei's sake, I am willing to give you a chance." Qin Feiyang said. "Chance?" The siblings were stunned and quickly bowed. "Please give us your orders, young master, we will do our best." "Stop." Qin Feiyang stopped the 2 of them and said indifferently, "Don't say those useless things, I only look at your performance." The 2 of them nodded, understood. "All right then. From now on, help me manage the Black Tortoise realm." Qin Feiyang said. Manage the Black Tortoise realm? The 2 of them were shocked. He actually gave them an important task. One had to know. This was not the Blood Hall back then, but a real world. To be honest, they did not have the confidence to manage it. Why? You don't have the confidence to manage it well? Qin Feiyang asked. The 2 of them hesitated and nodded, yes. Are you sure? Qin Feiyang looked at them mockingly. The two of them hesitated again. They said that they were confident because they wanted to seize this rare opportunity, but they really did not have the courage to be sure. Pei Hongyu looked up at Qin Feiyang and said with a flattering smile, "Young master, is there anyone who can guide us a little?" "No. Those who know how to manage have all gone to Sky Cloud Island." Qin Feiyang shook his head. The two of them fell silent again. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. "If you can't do it, then forget it, don't force yourself." "No, no, no." The two of them quickly waved their hands. Qin Feiyang said, "You don't have to force yourself, but if I force you to manage the Black Tortoise realm, what if I mess it up?" "That won't happen. Although we are not in the Devil's Land, we know your principles. Protect the peace of the Black Tortoise realm and protect every living thing here." The two of them quickly said. "Not bad, you know this. Alright, you can give it a try." After saying that, Qin Feiyang disappeared without a trace, leaving the brother and sister in a daze in the Devil's Land. Management, generally speaking, was very easy, but when it was really managed, one would know how difficult it was. Most importantly, with their current situation and position, they could not make any mistakes. Even if it was a small mistake, they were worried that they would anger Qin Feiyang. But they could not give up this opportunity to perform, it was too difficult. 2 days later at night. With a howl, the white-eyed wolf returned. How was it? Under the night sky, Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf stood together like ghosts in the night. "It's a little strange." The white-eyed wolf frowned. "Strange?" Qin Feiyang was stunned and looked at it suspiciously. "Yes. I've been to all the big and small cities in the western and eastern continents, but there is no news about them. It's as if they suddenly disappeared from the world." The white-eyed wolf was incomparably angry. It had promised Qin Feiyang, but in the end, there was nothing. It was really embarrassing. Disappeared from the world? Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows. This shouldn't be. Weren't these people here to hunt them down? Moreover, each of them had a sovereign divine weapon, so why were they hiding instead? The white-eyed wolf asked, "Do you think they felt that they couldn't beat us, so they returned to the dragon's nest?" Qin Feiyang said, "If it were you, after suffering such a big loss, would you run back?" "Of course not. If it were me, I would definitely fight to the death." The white-eyed wolf said proudly. "Isn't that right? I think they've already moved from the light to the dark. After the battle in the heavenly cloud sea, they should have realized that it is impossible to kill us in the light, so they went to the dark and waited for an opportunity to make a move." Qin Feiyang pondered. "Then they are still quite smart." The white-eyed wolf chuckled. "Don't underestimate them. After all, they are the princes and princesses of the dragons. Besides, without any brains, would the Dragon King dare to let them come out to hunt us down? It seems that it is impossible to kill 1 or 2 of them first." Qin Feiyang shook his head regretfully. "Then let's kill the princess of the Alliance capital." A cold light flashed in the white-eyed wolf's eyes. "Don't. She wants to use us, I also want to use her. But why hasn't the prince of the Golden Dragon clan come out yet?" Qin Feiyang frowned. Compared to the other princes and princesses, he was more interested in the prince of the Golden Dragon clan. Chapter 3461. That's right. Not counting the days we've been out, it's already been several months in the Yin Demon Land. 1 day is 5,000 years of time array. 10 days is 50,000 years, 100 days is 500,000 years. He should have reconstructed his body. The white-eyed wolf couldn't help but frown. Suddenly, he looked at Qin Feiyang in surprise and asked, "He wouldn't be hiding in the dark, waiting for an opportunity to make a move, right?" Hearing this, Qin Feiyang pondered for a while and waved his hand, maybe he's also staying in the dragon's nest to cultivate. Let's not make wild guesses. Anyway, that princess said she would help us keep an eye out, so let's wait. Wait? The white-eyed wolf was slightly stunned and asked, "Didn't you say we're going to the other 3 forbidden areas?" Qin Feiyang said, "Let's wait for a few more days. If there's still no news of that prince, we'll set off for the other 3 forbidden areas." "Then which forbidden area should we go to first?" the white-eyed wolf asked. The 4 forbidden areas were the Yin Demon Land, the Heavy Region Land, the Death Glacier, and the Buried Gods Land. Naturally, they didn't need to go to the Yin Demon Land. The Heavy Region Land, the Death Glacier, and the Buried Gods Land were all in different directions. Moreover, they didn't know if the forces in these 3 forbidden areas were friends or enemies of the dragons. If they were lucky and chose the dragon's opponent, they could find allies and fight the dragons together. Because the enemy of an enemy is a friend. But if they were unlucky and chose the dragons as an ally, it would undoubtedly be one disaster after another for them. But now, regarding the 4 forbidden areas, only the dragons knew a little about them. The other 3 forbidden areas were completely unknown. The only one who knew, Little Rabbit, refused to tell them, so now it was a test of their luck. The white-eyed wolf suddenly looked at Qin Feiyang and asked, "That little princess of the dragons should be familiar with the situation of the other 3 forbidden areas, right? Do you think she'll tell us? Although we're working together now, it's only limited to dealing with the crown prince of the dragons. As for the forces of the other 3 forbidden zones, since they can rule over their own forbidden zones, they must be existences that can contend against the dragons. What if these 3 forces really have a match for the dragons? Let's take a step back. Even if the 4 great forbidden zones are neither enemies nor friends, and they are all minding their own business and have nothing to do with each other, if the other 3 great forbidden zones were to receive the news and come out to join in the fun, the situation of the Sky Cloud realm would definitely become incomparably chaotic. I think the dragons wouldn't want to see such a scene. As for that woman, as the little princess of the dragons, although she has to deal with the first prince of the dragons, she definitely won't spoil the big picture or do anything that will harm the interests of the dragons. Qin Feiyang's analysis, although it was just a conjecture, was very convincing. That makes sense. The white-eyed wolf nodded. Suddenly, the white-eyed wolf's expression stiffened and said in surprise, "Then according to your analysis, is it possible that the dragons will stop us from going to the other 3 great forbidden zones?" "Stop us?" Qin Feiyang was taken aback. The white-eyed wolf nodded and said in a deep voice, "Think about it, if the other 3 great forbidden zones really have a match for the dragons, then the dragons are afraid that they will come out and intervene, so they will definitely find a way to block the news." Qin Feiyang's eyes trembled slightly when he heard this. This matter was not impossible. And the only way to block the news is to stop us from going to the other 3 great forbidden zones. That is to set up defenses at the entrances and exits of the 3 great forbidden zones. The white-eyed wolf's eyes flickered. Qin Feiyang pondered for a while, looking at the white-eyed wolf, and said in surprise, "You're not bad, you can still think of this." "What do you mean? Could it be that in your eyes, this brother is all brawn and no brains?" The white-eyed wolf said angrily. No. I'm just very surprised, that's all." Qin Feiyang waved his hand and smiled. The white-eyed wolf looked at Qin Feiyang in disdain and said angrily, "If only Little Rabbit was willing to tell us directly, then we wouldn't have to think so hard here. How many brain cells would it hurt?" Qin Feiyang could not help but praise at first, but when he heard this, he could not help but roll his eyes. What expression? Did this brother say something wrong? It was originally a very easy matter to solve, but now you have to make it so troublesome. The white-eyed wolf shook his head. Actually, it is still unknown whether they will set up defenses or not. After all, in their opinion, we don't know that there is a hidden force in the other 3 great forbidden zones. However, since you have already raised this doubt, then I think we should still take precautions. Qin Feiyang pondered for a while, looked at the white-eyed wolf, and asked, then why don't we go and test it out first? How do we test it out? The white-eyed wolf was doubtful. Of course not. We will go there in person. If there is really a defense, then wouldn't we be walking into a trap if we go there? Qin Feiyang said with a smile, and 6 incarnations immediately appeared around him. It seemed that the white-eyed wolf understood the appearance of these 6 incarnations and was ready to use them to test it out. Because even if the incarnations were killed, Qin Feiyang would not be affected in any way. But why 6 incarnations? 3 great forbidden zones, as long as there were 3 incarnations. Sometimes you are very smart, but sometimes you are very smart. Sometimes you are very smart, but sometimes you are very stupid. Qin Feiyang shook his head. Can't you talk nicely? Hearing this, the white-eyed wolf immediately glared at him. Qin Feiyang smiled helplessly and said, then how many entrances do you think there are to the Yin Demon Land? Nonsense. Of course there is one. Are you really doubting my intelligence? The white-eyed wolf replied without hesitation. Wrong. Qin Feiyang waved his hand. Wrong? The white-eyed wolf was stunned. How could this be wrong? Think about it carefully. Qin Feiyang said. The white-eyed wolf frowned and lowered his head to recall. Suddenly, his expression froze, and he looked at Qin Feiyang with an embarrassed smile. There are 2. Yes. 1 entrance in the eastern continent, 1 in the southern continent. These are 2 entrances. And the other 3 great forbidden zones are also connected between the 2 continents. Naturally, there are 2 entrances. Qin Feiyang said. Ha! Mistake, mistake. The white-eyed wolf was extremely embarrassed. He actually made such a low-level mistake. How embarrassing. Qin Feiyang waved his hand, and a middle-aged man appeared. It was Pei Dason. Young master. Pei Dason looked around in confusion. When he saw Qin Feiyang, he quickly bowed. Qin Feiyang asked, you should know the coordinates of the 6 entrances to the Heavy Region, Land of Buried Gods, and Death Glacier, right? I know this. Pei Dason nodded. As Pei Tianhong's son and a perfect realm sovereign, his understanding of the Sky Cloud realm was naturally far beyond ordinary people. All right, give them the coordinates. Qin Feiyang said. All right. Pei Dason nodded and said the coordinates one by one. Go. Qin Feiyang looked at the 6 incarnations and smiled. Understood. The 6 incarnations nodded and looked at the white-eyed wolf, waiting for it to open the space-time teleportation channel. In the end, you still have to rely on me. The white-eyed wolf smiled proudly. With a wave of its paw, 6 space-time teleportation channels opened at the same time. Qin Feiyang and the 6 incarnations couldn't help but roll their eyes at the white-eyed wolf. Before one of the incarnations left, he turned his head to look at Qin Feiyang and said, Main body, you should hurry up and comprehend the laws of space as well. Otherwise, a certain guy will act in front of us every day. I'll try. Qin Feiyang smiled bitterly. Was this something that could be comprehended so easily? What's going on? Pei Dason looked at Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf suspiciously. Your mission is complete. Qin Feiyang didn't explain. With a wave of his hand, he sent Pei Dason to the Black Tortoise realm. Why did you ask Pei Dason to come out? The white-eyed wolf was puzzled. Qin Feiyang said, I asked him and Pei Hongyu to help manage the Black Tortoise realm. Let them manage? Are you kidding me? Aren't you afraid that they'll embezzle? The white-eyed wolf frowned. If they really dare to do that, believe me, we don't need to do anything. Pei Tianhong won't let them off easily. Moreover, I let them enter the devil's land because of old Pei. After all, they are his children. If the two of them have really turned over a new leaf, it's fine to put them in an important position. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. The white-eyed wolf said, but don't forget that their son died in our hands. I didn't forget. But their son is also old Pei's grandson. If old Pei can think it through, they should be able to think it through too. And I heard from Fire Lotus that the two of them have already given birth to several children in Zhongzhou. Qin Feiyang smiled. So fast? The white-eyed wolf was stunned. Is it fast? The Black Tortoise realm has been here for hundreds of thousands of years. Qin Feiyang shook his head. Compared to ordinary people, they are definitely slow. But compared to you and little lunatic, hee. Understand it yourself. The white-eyed wolf snickered. Qin Feiyang's face darkened. He glared fiercely at the white-eyed wolf and then closed his eyes to sense the situation of his incarnation. Speaking of children, who didn't want to have a son or a daughter? But not everyone could have their wish fulfilled. Because many people had their own difficulties. Back to the 6 incarnations. They descended above the 6 entrances almost at the same time. And as soon as they appeared, they directly rushed toward the 3 forbidden areas. But at the same time. Boom! Below the 6 entrances, a terrifying divine might erupted. Like a tide, it rushed toward the 6 incarnations. Without any suspense, the 6 incarnations were annihilated on the spot. What? It's actually not his original body? Immediately. An angry voice sounded from the 6 entrances. At the same time when the 6 incarnations were annihilated, Qin Feiyang suddenly opened his eyes. 2 cold lights burst out. Someone really set up defenses? The white-eyed wolf was surprised. Yes. There are defenses at all 6 entrances. Qin Feiyang nodded. Damn, this is really crazy. The white-eyed wolf raised his eyebrows. This means that they really don't want the other 3 forbidden areas to participate. Qin Feiyang sneered. Then does this mean that the dragons and the 3 forbidden areas are enemies? The white-eyed wolf asked. We can't jump to conclusions too early. It's possible that they simply don't want the 3 forbidden areas to participate. However, judging from the current situation, even if the 4 forbidden areas aren't enemies, their relationship shouldn't be that good. In that case, it's considered good news for us. At least we don't have to face the joint suppression of the 4 forbidden areas. Maybe we can really find a reliable ally when the time comes. Qin Feiyang thought for a while and said with a smile. It seems that we have to go to the 3 forbidden areas. The white-eyed wolf pondered for a while and said. Yes. Qin Feiyang nodded. Chapter 3462. How long will it take to go to all 3 forbidden areas? Moreover, little madman is not here now. If there is something like the Yin demon force in the 3 forbidden areas, I don't care. But you will die if you go in. The white-eyed wolf shook his head. Some things seemed simple, but when they were put into practice, they would find that there were many difficulties. I don't think so. Last time, Old Pei and Old Wang said that although the 3 forbidden areas are dangerous, there doesn't seem to be anything like the Yin demon land. As long as there is nothing like the Yin demon force, then I have nothing to be afraid of. Qin Feiyang smiled slightly. Okay, you are awesome. Then who was the one who killed the 6 avatars? The white-eyed wolf asked. I can only sense the location of the incarnations and whether they are alive or dead. I don't know anything else because the distance is too far. Qin Feiyang shook his head. Then it seems that we have to go to these entrances? The white-eyed wolf frowned. Qin Feiyang pondered for a moment and said with a smile, anyway, we have to wait for a few days. Why don't we investigate first and find out who it is and think of a way to deal with it in advance? The white-eyed wolf nodded, thought for a moment, and said, now that we are in the Western continent, let's go to the two entrances of the Western continent first. What forbidden areas are connected to the Western continent? The Death Glacier and the Heavy Region. Qin Feiyang said. The Death Glacier connected the Western continent and the White Continent. The Heavy Region connected the Western continent and the Southern continent. Then let's go to the entrance of the Heavy Region first. The place where Pei Dason and the others were hiding last time seemed to be outside the Heavy Region. The white-eyed wolf said. Okay. And we can't use the coordinates that Pei Dason gave us before. We must first teleport to the entrance and then slowly approach it. Otherwise, when we appear, we will be ambushed like the incarnations. Qin Feiyang said in a deep voice. This was not a game. They would lose their lives. At the same time. At the entrance of the Heavy Region. In a small valley, a young man in blood-red clothes looked up at the sky with a frown. Behind him, there were two other old men in blood-red clothes. Their faces were gloomy. The young man withdrew his gaze and looked at the two old men, asking, why did Qin Feiyang send his doppelganger to the Heavy Realm? I don't know. However, the second princess and the third prince have already said that this is not a clone. The two of them reminded him. I know it's not a clone. That's not the main point. More importantly, why did he send a clone over? Could it be that he knew we were lying in ambush here? The blood-robed young man raised his eyebrows. Impossible. This was a decision we made after we left the Heaven Cloud Sea. Even if he has divine foresight, there's no way he could have predicted that we would set an ambush here. Unless, at this point, the eyes of the two blood-red robed old men trembled. They quickly shook their heads and denied the thought in their hearts. Unless what? The blood-red clothed young man was suspicious. Unless one of us tipped him off. However, that is absolutely impossible. The two old men shook their heads. Tipped him off, the blood-red clothed young man murmured and sneered, it's not impossible. Don't forget that little sister of mine. Given the grudge between her and Big Brother, she might do something stupid. The two old men looked at each other and warned the blood-red clothed young man, Your Highness, it's best not to make such baseless guesses in the future. Otherwise, if others hear it, they will definitely say that you are trying to sow discord, which will have a negative impact on your reputation. I know. I'm just saying it in front of you. The blood-red clothed young man waved his hand and pondered for a moment before saying, There's one more thing that I don't understand. Qin Feiyang came here to probe, so he should be planning to enter the Heavy Realm. Do you think this is a coincidence, or they want to hide in the Heavy Realm to avoid our pursuit? Or, as we think, they came here with a purpose? Do you mean that they really know the secret of the 4 forbidden areas and want to form an alliance with the 3 forbidden areas? The two old men were surprised. The blood-red clothed young man said angrily, How would I know? I'm not a roundworm in his stomach. Aren't I asking you? The two old men pondered for a while before looking at the blood-red clothed young man and saying, with Qin Feiyang's intelligence, he knows about the existence of the dragons. It's possible that he has connected the 3 forbidden areas with a hidden force, but what? The blood-red clothed young man was suspicious. But even if he can think of this, he can't be sure about the relationship between the dragons and the 3 forbidden areas. So, I don't think he dares to take this risk and break into the 3 forbidden areas directly. He will definitely find a way to figure out our situation first. The two old men said. Dares not? You still don't know the guts of Qin Feiyang and his people? I don't think there's anything that they don't dare to do. The blood-red clothed young man snorted and pondered for a moment before saying in a deep voice, Well, you can contact the others and see if the same thing has happened. Okay. The two old men nodded and took out a transmission stone to send messages to the followers of the other princes and princesses. Not far away, there was a giant mountain that was about 1,000 zhang tall. At the top of the mountain, a man and a wolf stood at the edge of the cliff, looking at the valley like two ghosts. That's right. It was Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf. At this moment, not only were their auras completely gone, but their bodies were also hidden in the void. Even if someone passed by, they wouldn't be able to detect them. I was wondering why I couldn't find them. It turns out that they are all blocking the entrances. The white-eyed wolf sneered secretly. I have to admit that these people have some brains. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. Then shouldn't you thank me? The white-eyed wolf glanced at Qin Feiyang and said telepathically. Thank you. Qin Feiyang was stunned. Of course. If I didn't suddenly think that someone might be guarding against us, would you have sent your incarnation to test us? If you didn't send your incarnation to test us, you would have come here brazenly. Wouldn't you have been caught off guard? The white-eyed wolf looked at Qin Feiyang proudly. Yes, I admit it. You're amazing. Qin Feiyang shook his head helplessly. I know it's your credit, but can't you keep a low profile? It's as if you're afraid that no one will know. Hey! The white-eyed wolf bared his teeth and asked, then is there a need to investigate the other entrances? Of course not. Qin Feiyang shook his head. The white-eyed wolf rolled his eyes and said with a sneaky smile, then do you have any ideas now? Ideas, Qin Feiyang murmured. The princes and princesses were separated now. Moreover, one of them was in the east and the other was in the west. Even if there was a battle, the others wouldn't be able to sense it. For him, this was indeed a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Okay. I'll do it. In the valley. The two old men in blood-red clothes put away the divine voice-transmitting stone and said to the young man in blood-red clothes, you heard it too. Qin Feiyang's doppelgangers appeared at the 6 entrances of the 3 forbidden areas. Bastard. He's obviously here to test us. I don't believe that he's so smart that he can predict everything. Someone must have tipped him off. The young man in blood-red clothes said angrily. The two old men in blood-red clothes looked at each other and didn't know what to say. This was because they also felt that no matter how smart a person was, it was impossible for him to predict everything. Therefore, it was more convincing that someone had tipped him off. However, they didn't want to believe it. After all, they knew the princes and princesses quite well. Although they were fighting openly and secretly, they still had a sense of the big picture. It was impossible for them to destroy the big picture just because of personal grudges. What on earth was going on? The 3 young men in blood-red clothes were lost in thought. The valley fell into a dead silence. Boom! Suddenly, a terrifying divine power emerged like a volcanic eruption. Moreover, this divine power was right above the 3 of them. It could be said that it was very close. The 3 of them were shocked. They looked up and saw a white figure appear in the void. He was holding a horsetail whisk and was charging at them aggressively. Qin Feiyang. The 3 of them were shocked. This was too sudden. They didn't expect Qin Feiyang to come out and attack them at this time. They were completely caught off guard. However, the blood dragon blade, which was hiding in the young man in blood-red clothes, reacted at the critical moment. It appeared in an instant and attacked the horsetail whisk. However, it didn't have time to fully recover. With a loud clang, it was sent flying by the horsetail whisk. You didn't expect this, did you? You wanted to ambush me here and catch me off guard. However, you were attacked by me instead. Qin Feiyang smiled coldly. Like a demon god descending to the world, he raised his horsetail whisk and smashed it towards the 3 people's heads. Take his highness away and inform the other princesses and princes immediately. One of the old men in blood-red clothes shouted angrily after he forced the other old man and the young man in blood-red clothes to retreat. Then, he transformed into his real body in an instant. It was a blood dragon that was tens of thousands of feet long. It looked as if it was covered in blood and had a murderous aura. You're really not afraid of death? Fine, I'll fulfill your wish. Qin Feiyang's eyes were filled with killing intent. As the horsetail whisk fell, the divine power shattered in all directions. The blood dragon screamed in pain. Its huge body and divine soul exploded in the void and were crushed into pieces. Blood dragon blade, hold him back. The other old man shouted angrily. He grabbed the young man in blood-red clothes and flew away without looking back. At the same time, the young man in blood-red clothes took out his divine voice-transmitting stone. Horsetail whisk, hold him back. Qin Feiyang also let out a shout. The horsetail whisk left his hand and shot towards the blood dragon blade. At the same time, Qin Feiyang used the space-time step and chased after the young man in blood-red clothes and the old man in blood-red clothes. Seeing that the young man in blood-red clothes was activating the sacred voice-transmitting stone, he shouted secretly, "Ancient Castle, come out and help me." However, Ancient Castle didn't respond at all. "My dear lord, although they only have one sovereign divine weapon, they are dragons. It's not easy to get this opportunity. Can't you help me?" Qin Feiyang felt helpless. Whether it was in the past or now, as long as Qin Feiyang could deal with the situation, Ancient Castle wouldn't show up no matter what he said. Chapter 3463. What should we do? Qin Feiyang's eyes flickered. If Gu Bao didn't appear, he wouldn't be able to catch up with them even if he activated the slaughter zone. Because the slaughter zone was strong in other aspects, but speed was its biggest weakness. How could he let the duck in his mouth fly away just like that? He couldn't accept it. Clang! Suddenly, accompanied by a deafening sound, a black divine light rushed out from between Qin Feiyang's eyebrows. It was Gu Bao. Qin Feiyang was overjoyed and said with a smile, "That's right. The enemies we faced before were too weak, so you didn't have to do anything. But it's different now. Even you might not be able to deal with the enemies we're facing now. You talk too much. Didn't I do this to train you?" Gu Bao said angrily. "Big brother, you've been with me every day. Don't you know me? Take a good look. Do I still need to train now?" Qin Feiyang was speechless. Don't be so smug. No matter who it is, they can only stabilize their mind and state of mind under constant training. Gu Bao then released a monstrous divine aura, shattering the void and the earth as he charged toward the red-clothed youth. "Oh no! Your Highness, you go first." The red-clothed elder's expression changed. He pushed the red-clothed youth away and turned to face Gu Bao. A terrifying power of law burst out. In just an instant, 10 golden lotuses appeared in the sky, exuding a destructive divine aura as they blasted toward Gu Bao. Karma law, the ultimate mystery. Qin Feiyang was shocked. He quickly looked at Gu Bao and shouted, "Keep him alive." Then, he waved his hand and the white-eyed wolf appeared. It pointed at the red-clothed youth and shouted, "Go after him." The white-eyed wolf nodded and immediately opened a space-time transmission channel. The other end of the channel was in front of the red-clothed youth. Qin Feiyang immediately rushed in. Before the white-eyed wolf entered the space-time transmission channel, it saw the 10 golden lotuses and shouted, "Sir, you must keep him alive." Then, it also rushed into the space-time transmission channel. Damn it! Seeing Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf chasing the red-clothed youth, the red-clothed elder's face was full of anger. He also turned and flew toward the red-clothed youth. You still want to save him? You don't take me seriously, do you? Gu Bao snorted coldly, and his divine might shook the world. The 10 golden lotuses were shattered in an instant. Then, with a flash, he descended above the old man in blood-red robes, and his terrifying divine might surged. Since they wanted to keep him alive, they naturally couldn't kill him. Seeing this, the old man's face was pale, and his eyes were filled with despair the next moment. A destructive aura roared out from his body. Self-detonate. However, trying to self-destruct in front of a sovereign weapon was far too naive. The ancient castle's godly aura poured into the old man's qi sea, causing it to collapse on the spot. Save the red-clothed youth too. 2. The blood-robed old man roared. The blood dragon blade actually wanted to rescue him, but it had no choice. The horsetail whisk was trying its best to restrain it, so it could not get away. At the same time, when the blood-red-clothed young man saw a space-time crack appear in front of him, he knew that it was Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf who were chasing after him. He turned around without hesitation, activated his supreme-level support divine technique, and fled in another direction. Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf appeared from the space-time crack. Seeing this, they raised their eyebrows. You block him from behind. I'll block him from the front. The white-eyed wolf opened another space-time transmission channel and appeared in front of the red-clothed youth. The red-clothed youth's face changed. He turned around and saw Qin Feiyang coming from behind. The red-clothed youth was restrained by the horsetail whisk, and the red-clothed elder's sea of qi was destroyed. He was imprisoned by Gu Bao. There was no way he could survive. Run? The white-eyed wolf sneered. He activated his 3 supreme profound meanings and rushed toward the red-clothed youth like a bolt of lightning. One had to know. Among its 3 profundities, there was also the law of time's momentary time. He was so fast that the naked eye couldn't see him. Behind him, Qin Feiyang also used the space-time step and held the blood-red sword in his hand. This wasn't the slaughter zone. It was the kill formula. But now, the kill character art was also a supreme-level heaven-defying divine art. Its power was many times stronger than before. I can't accept this. Blood Dragon Realm. The young man in blood-red clothes roared out and a wave of blood-red qi surged out. In an instant, it formed a blood-red barrier that enveloped him. Another forbidden technique? Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf raised their eyebrows. The blood-red sword, the supreme profound meanings of the space-time and the death law hit the barrier at the same time. The barrier only trembled a little. It's indeed a forbidden technique. It's the same as the Black Dragon Realm and the Fire Dragon Realm. This must be a forbidden technique created by the dragons themselves. The white-eyed wolf raised his eyebrows. I'd like to see if this forbidden technique is invincible. Qin Feiyang stepped out and activated his 3,000 clones. The world was immediately flooded with terrifying killing intent because all 3,000 clones had activated the kill formula. Kill. Following Qin Feiyang's shout, the 3,000 incarnations raised their blood-colored swords one after another. The sharpness of their swords could destroy heaven and earth as they slashed towards the blood dragon domain. Buzz. At this moment, inside the barrier, the voice transmission stone in the red-clothed youth's hand shone brightly. The image of a green-clothed woman appeared. She was about 1.75 meters tall and wore a light green dress. Her hair was like a waterfall and her face was beautiful. She exuded a youthful aura. Help! The red-clothed youth roared at the green-clothed woman. The green-clothed woman was stunned. It's Qin Feiyang. Come and save me. The red-clothed youth roared again. Qin Feiyang. The green-clothed woman's eyes trembled. Boom! At the same time, The 3,000 clones charged and the blood dragon realm immediately distorted. "Hang in there!" the red-clothed youth roared at the barrier. "It seems that there is a limit to the blood dragon realm." Qin Feiyang smiled coldly. He waved the blood-colored sword in his hand and furiously chopped down. As his blood-red long sword approached, the bounded domain was shattered with a cracking sound. The 3,000 incarnations waved their hands at the same time, and the blood-red long swords flew out of their hands. The long swords flew toward the red-clothed young man with billowing sword chi. "Go!" the voice of the ancient castle sounded. Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf looked at each other and ignored the red-clothed youth. They activated the moment of time and rushed toward the ancient castle. It would be best if they could kill him, but there was nothing they could do if they couldn't. The green-clothed woman must have received the red-clothed youth's request and was on her way. If they didn't leave now, they wouldn't be able to. After all, they had to get rid of the blood dragon blade. The 3,000 clones also dissipated. When the white-eyed wolf took Qin Feiyang and activated the moment of time and landed next to the ancient castle immediately swept them and the red-clothed elder into the battlefield of the horsetail whisk and the blood dragon blade. Clang! The two sovereign divine weapons attacked the blood dragon blade at the same time. Even though the blood dragon blade was a sovereign divine weapon, it couldn't withstand the combined attack of the ancient castle and the horsetail whisk. Immediately, the blood dragon blade was blown away. Then, the white-eyed wolf opened a space-time transmission channel. The ancient castle and the horsetail whisk took the two of them and the white-eyed wolf into it without looking back. In the blink of an eye. At this moment, with a loud bang, a stone door opened in the sky. 3 figures rushed out at lightning speed. They were the green-clothed woman and the 2 green-clothed elders. When they saw the battle below, their faces darkened. When they saw the space-time transmission channel, a cold light flashed in the green-clothed woman's eyes and she shouted, "Stop them!" The 2 green-clothed elders immediately swooped down. The power of laws surged out and blasted toward the space-time transmission channel. With a loud bang, the space-time transmission channel collapsed, but they didn't see Qin Feiyang and the others appear. The 2 elders looked at each other and frowned slightly. They returned to the green-clothed woman and sighed. "They have already escaped. Bastard!" The green-clothed woman clenched her hands and looked at the blood dragon blade. The blood dragon blade went straight to where the red-clothed youth was. When it reached the sky, the blood dragon blade released a divine power. The murderous intent and sharpness that filled the sky instantly collapsed and dissipated. But at this moment, the red-clothed youth was nowhere to be found. "Is he dead?" The green-clothed woman and the 2 elders landed beside the blood dragon blade and asked in a deep voice. Clang! At this moment, more stone doors appeared one after another. These were all spacetime transmission divine artifacts. There were also spacetime transmission channels. Needless to say, these people must be the other princes and princesses. They were naturally notified by the green-clothed woman and the other 2 elders. "Where is he?" Everyone glanced around the battlefield and looked at the green-clothed woman, the other 2 elders, and the blood dragon blade. The green-clothed woman looked around and sighed. It seems that other than the blood dragon blade, they have all been wiped out. What? The eyes of the group trembled. They were originally here to ambush Qin Feiyang and the others, but they didn't expect to be ambushed by Qin Feiyang. Why was this person so difficult to deal with? He's not dead. Suddenly, the blood dragon blade said and a divine power appeared below. Soon, it wrapped up a wisp of blood-red divine soul and returned to him. It was like a strand of hair. It was hard to notice if one didn't look carefully. This was the remaining divine soul of the red-clothed youth. Fortunately, you came in time. Otherwise, his divine soul would have been destroyed. The green-clothed woman heaved a sigh of relief. She looked at the blood dragon blade and asked, was this done by Qin Feiyang's divine weapon? No. It was Qin Feiyang. He has the ability to break the blood dragon domain. You must be careful when you face him in the future. The blood dragon blade warned. He can break the blood dragon domain? The group of princes and princesses couldn't help but turn pale when they heard this. However, they didn't see the black-clothed woman and the white-clothed youth here. This is so satisfying. In the depths of a mountain. The white-eyed wolf couldn't stop laughing. He finally vented the anger he suffered at the hands of the dragons. Qin Feiyang glanced at the white-eyed wolf and lowered his head. I wonder if the prince is dead. It doesn't matter if he's not dead. Anyway, we've already won this time. The white-eyed wolf waved his paws and turned to look at the red-clothed elder. His eyes suddenly emitted a green light and the corners of his mouth were dripping with saliva. The red-clothed elder was considered a big shot, but he couldn't help but feel scared when he saw the white-eyed wolf's eyes. Chapter 34-64. Don't be afraid. We won't hurt you. The white-eyed wolf bared his fangs. Who would believe that? The old man roared in his heart. He could tell that the old man was up to no good. Let's go to the Black Tortoise realm. The white-eyed wolf looked at Qin Feiyang eagerly. Qin Feiyang looked at the blood-red-clothed old man, his face filled with schadenfreude. Being targeted by an ingrate, he could only blame himself for being unlucky. Whoosh! With a wave of his hand, 2 men and 1 wolf, as well as the horsetail whisk and the castle, appeared in the sky above the Devil's Land. This place, the old man looked around in shock. Was this Qin Feiyang's power? At the same time. Below. Pei Dason and Pei Hongyu flew over and looked at the old man suspiciously. Who was this unlucky kid? The white-eyed wolf walked to the old man and smiled. How do you feel about the Black Tortoise realm? The old man in blood-red clothes remained silent. Don't be afraid. I won't hurt you. I'll just take your power of law. The white-eyed wolf smiled and the green light in his eyes became more intense. It was as if he was staring at a delicious cake. The old man's scalp went numb. What did he mean by taking his power of law? You'll understand soon. The white-eyed wolf looked at the horsetail whisk and shouted, "Hold him down." Boom! The horsetail whisk trembled slightly, and a monstrous power roared out. The red-robed old man was immediately confined in the void. The white-eyed wolf didn't waste any more time. He activated his fighting soul and took the old man's law of cause and effect. Is this his innate superpower that can take the power of law? Pei Dason and Pei Hongyu were also bewildered. They had heard that the white-eyed wolf had such an ability, but it was their first time seeing it with their own eyes. It was unbelievable. Such an innate superpower really existed in the world. What kind of monster was this? The old man also screamed. His feelings were the most obvious. The power of the nomological laws was being stripped away. It felt as if a large hand was forcibly pulling out the bones in his body one by one. After a while. After successfully extracting the karma law, the ingrate immediately ran back to the castle to fuse with it. After entering the Black Tortoise realm, the ancient castle returned to its original position. The horsetail whisk also withdrew its pressure and sank into Qin Feiyang's body. The old man in the blood-red robe, on the other hand, seemed to have been drained of all his strength. He was paralyzed in the void, not moving at all. However, his face was filled with bewilderment. What's going on? Why couldn't he sense the existence of the law of karma? The old man raised his head slowly and looked at Qin Feiyang, asking, "Tell me, what did it do to me?" Obviously. It stripped you of the law of cause and effect. In other words, from this moment on, you will lose the law of karma. This might sound unimaginable, but it's all true. Qin Feiyang smiled. What? The old man's eyes trembled, and his face turned pale. Losing the law of cause and effect, what was the difference between that and death? Bastard, go to hell with me. The blood-red-clothed old man suddenly roared in anger. His spirit sense surged out, and pounced on Qin Feiyang. However, Qin Feiyang was indifferent. Although the old man could kill him with the power of the divine soul, there was not only the horsetail whisk in his body, but also Pei Dason and Pei Hongyu. Pei Dason and Pei Hongyu would not miss this opportunity to show off. As expected. Seeing this, the two of them attacked almost at the same time, slapping at the old man's divine consciousness. The divine consciousness was shattered on the spot. How dare you attack the young master? Pei Dason's eyes flashed with killing intent. He took another step forward and landed in front of the old man. He raised his arm and slapped at the old man's head. No, the old man screamed in horror. However, Pei Dason turned a deaf ear to him. It was rare for him to show off, so he had to do it perfectly. Don't kill him yet. However, at this moment, Qin Feiyang said. Pei Dason was slightly stunned. His palm stopped above the old man's head, and his divine power directly tore the old man's scalp. Blood gushed out and gradually dyed the old man's face red, making him look extremely embarrassed. Qin Feiyang stepped forward and gently pushed Pei Dason away. He looked at the old man and said with a smile, "Tell me the details about the dragons, and I'll let you live." "Why do you want to know?" The old man looked at Qin Feiyang, still in shock. Qin Feiyang said with a faint smile, "Know yourself and know your enemy. Don't you understand that?" The old man's pupils contracted. He said in disbelief, "Do you really want to fight the dragons to the end? Do you think I'm joking?" Qin Feiyang couldn't help but laugh. It was already a life-or-death situation, and the old man asked such a stupid question. Did the old man really think he was joking? You're no match for the dragons. The strength of the dragons is not something an ant like you can imagine. The old man laughed. His blood-stained face looked ferocious. You're courting death. Pei Dason shouted. However, this time, the old man didn't show any fear. He closed his eyes and waited for death. Pei Dason raised his eyebrows and turned to Qin Feiyang. Young master, what do you think? Qin Feiyang waved his hand and looked at the old man in silence. If this person's cultivation was below the great mastery of the Dominator realm, it would be easy to deal with him. He could just use the slave seal or the puppet technique to forcibly read his memory. However, this person's cultivation was at the peak of the Dominator realm. Forcibly controlling him would definitely backfire. It wasn't easy to capture one of the dragons alive. He wanted to find out more information, but now there was no hope. I see. I won't ask you about the dragons. Tell me about the other 3 forbidden areas, and I'll let you go. Qin Feiyang thought for a while and said to the old man in blood-stained clothes. Don't even think about it. The old man in blood-stained clothes sneered. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed with anger. He had thought that this old man was afraid of death. When he was facing Pei Dason, he didn't pretend to be afraid. However, he didn't expect him to be so stubborn when he asked about the dragons. This was a bit difficult. Because for someone like him, even if he used a blood oath, it would be meaningless. Whoosh! Qin Feiyang took a deep breath. He looked at Pei Dason and said, "Let's kill it. When the time comes, cut up its body and place it in the various forbidden areas. We will gift it to the fated people of the Black Tortoise world." Pei Dason nodded. Suddenly, he felt a little envious of the people in the Black Tortoise world. Whether it was the crystal veins, the spirit veins, the divine arts, the divine weapons, or the pill recipes, they were all given by Qin Feiyang. For example, this old man in blood-stained clothes. His true form was a blood dragon. He had the cultivation of a perfected sovereign. Any dragon scale, drop of dragon blood, or piece of dragon meat could bring great fortune to the people in the Black Tortoise world. After Pei Dason killed the old man in blood-stained clothes and divided his divine soul, the old man's body immediately turned back into the body of a divine dragon. It was indeed a blood dragon. Immediately after, the brother and sister were about to leave with the blood dragon's body. But suddenly, a figure broke through the air like lightning. Pei Dason and Pei Hongyu were stunned. Someone dared to trespass into the devil's land? Stop! The two of them immediately let out a shout. The person immediately stopped in the void. It turned out to be an old man in green clothes. His face was flushed and he looked very energetic. Lord Sovereign. The old man in green clothes looked at Pei Dason and Pei Hongyu suspiciously. When he saw Qin Feiyang, a trace of joy appeared on his face. However, when he saw the blood dragon, he was even more excited. Immediately, he hurriedly flew in front of Qin Feiyang and bowed, "Greetings, Lord Sovereign." "You are?" Qin Feiyang looked at the old man suspiciously. He had never seen him before. However, there was a smell of wine on the old man's body. The old man in green clothes hurriedly said, "I am Zhao Si, the person in charge of brewing the Black Tortoise divine wine." The person in charge of brewing the Black Tortoise divine wine? Qin Feiyang was stunned. He knew that someone was in charge of brewing the Black Tortoise divine wine, but he didn't know who it was. Because he didn't care much about these things. After all, he had never been interested in wine. Yes. I really didn't expect to meet the Lord Sovereign in this trip to the Devil's Land. It's really a blessing of 3 lifetimes. Zhao Si looked at Qin Feiyang with a face full of admiration. Qin Feiyang shook his head and laughed, and asked, "Then did you get the permission of Pai Lupi and the others to come to the Devil's Land?" "No." Zhao Si shook his head. "You dare to barge in without them?" Pei Dason frowned. "I had no choice. Previously, I contacted Pai Lupi and Theta Wang more than once, but they didn't respond. I had no choice but to enter the Devil's Land without permission. Lord Sovereign, please forgive me. I really didn't mean to." Zhao Si was terrified. "It's fine." Qin Feiyang waved his hand and asked with a smile, "Why are you looking for Pai Lupi and the others?" Recently, we have developed a new divine wine that requires a special material, so I wanted to tell them." Zhao Si nodded. "A new divine wine?" Qin Feiyang was stunned. "Yes. We have a hunch that once this divine wine is born, it will definitely be better than the Black Tortoise divine wine." Zhao Si's face was full of confidence. "Is that so?" Qin Feiyang was surprised. But this special material," at this point, Zhao Si glanced at the blood dragon, his eyes full of desire. Qin Feiyang was stunned. He turned to look at the blood dragon and asked suspiciously, "The material you want is a divine dragon?" "No, no, no." Zhao Si hurriedly waved his hand and said, "That's too exaggerated. I only want dragon blood. I thought it would be difficult to find, but I didn't expect there to be ready-made ones." "Lord Sovereign, you see," he looked at Qin Feiyang carefully. Qin Feiyang smiled and looked at Pei Dason and the others, saying, "The two of you cooperate with him. If there is anything he needs, try to satisfy him." "Yes." The two of them nodded respectfully. "Thank you, Lord Sovereign." Zhao Si was pleasantly surprised. In the past, he had heard Pai Lupi and Theta Wang say that this Lord Sovereign was friendly and amiable, but he didn't believe it. Now that he saw him, it was indeed so. He was a wise lord. Where is the base of your wine? Qin Feiyang asked curiously. Zhao Si smiled and said, it's just outside the Devil's Land, not far away. If Lord Sovereign is interested, you can go take a look. When I'm free, I'll go take a look. Qin Feiyang smiled slightly. Okay. Zhao Si nodded. Qin Feiyang thought for a moment and asked, how many people do you have in total? Including me, there are a total of 15 people. All of them are famous winemakers in the Black Tortoise world. Zhao Si said. So few? Qin Feiyang was surprised. It's not few. After all, not every winemaker is at the level of a master. Our principle is to rather have nothing than to have something substandard. Besides, what we brew is divine wine, not ordinary wine. So we pay more attention to quality than quantity. Zhao Si chuckled. Okay, I don't understand anyway. You can do as you see fit. But while brewing wine, you can't neglect your cultivation. Qin Feiyang smiled slightly. Lord Sovereign, thank you for your concern. Zhao Si bowed. Go. Qin Feiyang waved his hand. Yes. Zhao Si respectfully responded, then looked at Pei Dason and Zhao Si, cupping his hands and saying, thank you for your trouble. No problem, lead the way. Pei Dason waved his hand. Even Qin Feiyang was so humble, they naturally didn't dare to put on airs. Then, the two of them took the blood dragon and followed behind Zhao Si, flying out of the Devil's Land. It's better than the Black Tortoise divine wine, I'm really looking forward to it. Qin Feiyang murmured, a faint smile creeping on his face. He glanced at the desolate Devil's Land and disappeared into the ancient castle. Chapter 3465. In the blink of an eye. Black Tortoise World. 1,000 years had passed. Outside, a day had already passed. The white-eyed wolf's karma law had long been successfully integrated, and his cultivation had broken through to the greater mastery sovereign realm as he wished. And now, he alone had mastered the supreme mysteries of the four strongest laws. To be honest, it was impossible not to be envious. But it was indeed as the white-eyed wolf often said, this kind of thing could not be envied. Qin Feiyang had long been used to it, silently comprehending the law of force, the law of wind, and the law of war. The next morning. Buzz. Suddenly. A sound came from the divine sound transmission stone. Qin Feiyang opened his eyes and took out the divine sound transmission stone. When he looked down, his expression froze. It was actually the sea lion sending him a message. He hurriedly activated the divine sound transmission stone, and the sea lion's phantom immediately appeared, immediately saying, Brother Qin, the divine sound transmission stone that you gave me suddenly made a sound, someone should be sending you a message. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed, and he said with a smile, I'll be right there. Okay. The sea lion nodded, and the phantom directly dissipated. Qin Feiyang put away the divine sound transmission stone, got up and walked out of the cultivation room, shouting, White-eyed wolf, come out and work. However, there was no response. Qin Feiyang was slightly taken aback, releasing his perception, he was actually not in the castle. He walked out of the castle and scanned the surrounding medicinal fields. Soon, he saw the white-eyed wolf in one of the medicinal fields on the left. He saw the white-eyed wolf lying on a thick tree of fortune, holding a wine jar and eating a fruit of fortune, looking as comfortable as it could be. Qin Feiyang's face darkened, it really knew how to enjoy. Immediately, he took a step and landed below the tree of fortune. Just as he was about to speak, he suddenly sniffed and smelled an intoxicating wine aroma. This wine aroma was completely different from the Black Tortoise divine brew. Just by smelling it, he couldn't help but feel lightheaded, as if he was floating between the clouds. Qin Feiyang was astonished. What kind of wine was this? Even he couldn't help but salivate. Suddenly, he looked at the wine jar in the white-eyed wolf's arms. The wine jug wasn't big, it was also made of precious jade. Compared to the black tortoise divine brew's jug, it was much smaller. Huang Xiaolong estimated that it could only hold about 2 jin. The aroma of the wine seemed to be coming from the wine pot. He's out. Do you want a bite too? The white-eyed wolf grabbed the wine jug and took a sip. He looked at Qin Feiyang and grinned. Try it. Qin Feiyang nodded. The white-eyed wolf was stunned. Was he really going to drink it? It was a little reluctant to leave. Hurry up. Qin Feiyang urged. Just one bite, not too much. The white-eyed wolf landed in front of Qin Feiyang and carefully handed the wine pot to Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang rolled his eyes. The wine jug was indeed very small. He could grab it with one hand. He put it at the tip of his nose and smelled it. His eyes lit up. Then he put it at the corner of his mouth and took a sip, savoring the taste. Not only was the wine pure, soft, and smooth, it also contained the essence of a divine dragon. Qin Feiyang looked at the white-eyed wolf and asked, "Is this the new divine brew that Zhao Si and the others developed?" "Yes." The white-eyed wolf nodded and said in admiration, "I have to say that these people are really good at making wine. They can actually extract the essence of dragon blood and infuse it into the wine. I heard from Zhao Si that if a mortal drank a sip of this wine, they would definitely be reborn. Something like that. After all, this is the essence of dragon blood. And it seems to have infused the essence of many herbs. Not to mention mortals, even imperishable realm cultivators can benefit greatly from drinking this wine." Qin Feiyang nodded. The white-eyed wolf snatched the wine jug from Qin Feiyang's hand and chuckled. "You don't like to drink anyway, so don't waste it." Qin Feiyang's face darkened. Although he didn't like to drink, there was no need to say that it was a waste. The white-eyed wolf asked, "Do you know how they make this wine? How is it brewed?" Qin Feiyang was suspicious. "I don't know the process, and I don't care. I just drink it. But I heard that the brewing process is very complicated. Just the water used to make this wine is very difficult to obtain." The white-eyed wolf said. "Is it that exaggerated?" Qin Feiyang was stunned. "It's not exaggerated at all. Because the water used to make this wine is collected from morning dew." The white-eyed wolf said. "Morning dew?" Qin Feiyang was slightly stunned and said, "Isn't it just dew? Don't think that it's ordinary dew. This is the morning dew collected from the herbs. And I heard that it can't be collected on the same day. After all, the morning dew has to absorb the essence of the herbs. For example, the morning dew that appeared this morning. They used some special methods to seal the morning dew in the herbs. After the morning dew has absorbed enough essence, it can be collected. It seems that there's something else to do. It's too complicated. I listened for a while and then I was too lazy to listen anymore." In short, Zhao Si said that it would take at least 10 years to brew a bottle of wine like this. Originally, if it was placed in the crystal veins and spirit veins and nourished for thousands or even tens of thousands of years, the taste would be even better. However, I couldn't resist and got 2 bottles in advance. The white-eyed wolf bared his teeth. 10 years? Qin Feiyang was extremely shocked. Just a jug of wine would take 10 years. The white-eyed wolf laughed and said, "In fact, there's only one purpose for telling you this. In the future, when we're outside, don't be so generous. We don't even have enough to drink ourselves." Qin Feiyang was speechless when he heard this. But to be honest, he was a little reluctant to give away such wine. After all, this jug of wine was the result of 10 years of hard work by Zhao Si and the others. Is the dragon blood enough? Qin Feiyang asked. Yes. I heard that each jug of wine only uses 10 drops of dragon blood. The dragon blood of that blood dragon is enough for them to brew at least hundreds of thousands of jugs. Let's talk about it later. Such a big dragon, are we afraid that we don't have enough dragon blood? The white-eyed wolf bared his teeth. Ha! Hearing this, Qin Feiyang couldn't help but laugh. Looking at the white-eyed wolf, he asked, "You have 2 jugs, right?" "Yes." The white-eyed wolf nodded, then looked at Qin Feiyang warily and said, "What do you want?" "Give me a jug." Qin Feiyang stretched out his hand. "No." The white-eyed wolf shook his head as if guarding against a thief. "Hurry up, we still have to go to the heavenly cloud sea later. That little princess of the dragons sent a message to us. It may be that the first prince of the dragons has come out. If it's really the first prince of the dragons, then he must have followers by his side. Maybe you can get another supreme mystery of the strongest law." Qin Feiyang said. "Really?" The white-eyed wolf quivered and quickly asked. "Qin Feiyang nodded. Okay. The white-eyed wolf quickly took out another jug of wine and handed it to Qin Feiyang, saying, "You prepared this for the little rabbit." This little rabbit is strong and has a terrifying background. It doesn't lack anything. We can only use wine to bribe it." Qin Feiyang nodded and left the black tortoise world with the white-eyed wolf. Chapter 3466. Heavenly Cloud Sea. When Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf arrived above the sea, they found that there was an additional island below. At the edge of the island, rocks were piled up, looking extremely messy. But inside, there were rolling mountains and verdant vegetation, full of vitality. In the center, there was a giant mountain, and on top of the mountain, there was a sea lion. Sensing Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf's aura, the sea lion immediately looked up and shouted, "Brother Qin, Brother Wolf, I'm here." One man and one wolf looked down at the sea lion, then took a step forward and landed in front of the sea lion. "What's going on with this island?" The white-eyed wolf glanced at the island and asked suspiciously. The sea lion said, "I moved this from afar. From now on, this place will be called Sea Lion Island." The white-eyed wolf nodded and said with a sneaky smile, "Even the territory has been settled. You want to be the king of this area?" The sea lion laughed. The sea beasts in this area were not strong. Most of them were at or below the imperishable realm. So, with its half-step dominator cultivation, it could indeed be the king of this area. "Don't worry. If you need our help in the future, just let us know." The white-eyed wolf bared its teeth. "Okay." The sea lion was overjoyed. With Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf's protection, its future would definitely be limitless. Qin Feiyang asked, "Where's the divine sound stone?" The sea lion took out the divine sound stone and said, "Before you came, it rang for a while. The other party probably has something urgent to talk to you about." Qin Feiyang took the divine sound stone. Buzz. Soon, a shadow appeared. It was the silver-haired woman. The silver-haired woman raised her eyebrows and said, "What are you doing? I've been talking to you for a long time and you didn't respond?" Qin Feiyang smiled faintly and said, "I'm busy." "You're really a busy man." "But that's true. Yesterday, he almost killed my 4th brother at the entrance of the heavy domain." The silver-haired woman looked at Qin Feiyang meaningfully and asked, "I'm really curious. Even I didn't know that they were lying in ambush at the entrance of the 3 forbidden zones." "How did you know?" "You don't know?" Qin Feiyang was surprised. "I don't know. Due to certain reasons, they are somewhat repulsed by me. Thus, generally speaking, they will be on guard against me." There was a hint of sadness in the silver-haired woman's eyes. "I think it's because you are too smart." Qin Feiyang said with a smile. The silver-haired woman chuckled and said, "You really know how to talk. Even I can't help but feel slightly smug. But then again, how exactly did you find out?" "I guessed." Qin Feiyang said. "You guessed?" The silver-haired woman was stunned. This answer was a bit unexpected. When she learned about this, she also thought that someone had tipped off Qin Feiyang, because this was not a problem that a normal person could think of. But unexpectedly, it turned out to be a guess. "You don't believe me?" Qin Feiyang asked with a smile. "I do." The silver-haired woman nodded. If it was Qin Feiyang, it might really be possible. "You came looking for me this time to ask about this matter? If that's the case, then you are wasting my time," Qin Feiyang said. "Don't be anxious. Such a small matter is not worthy of me specially sending a message to you." There was a trace of disdain in the silver-haired woman's eyes. Then, she said, "The person you are looking forward to has already come out of the dragon's nest." "Really?" Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf looked at each other. Their eyes flashed. "Yes. He seems to be in the demon palace now. However, according to what I heard, not only does he have a sovereign divine weapon with him, but he also has 4 followers. There is even news that the divine child is with him," the silver-haired woman said in a deep voice. "Divine child?" Qin Feiyang frowned. He seemed to have heard them mention this divine child last time. And this divine child seemed to be very familiar with him. He had wondered if it could be the son of the ice dragon. The woman said, "I heard from this divine child that he is an old friend of yours." "Old friend?" Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf looked at each other and a figure immediately appeared in their minds. It seemed that it was really the prince of the dragons. "However, I am not sure whether the divine child has left the dragon's nest and is with my brother. You will have to investigate this matter yourself. Of course, I also believe that even if this divine child is here, he won't be able to stop you from killing him." The silver-haired woman smiled. Qin Feiyang looked at the silver-haired woman and shook his head. "It is not good to be too smart. It is also not good to not be smart," the silver-haired woman said. Qin Feiyang didn't linger on this topic any longer. He asked, "4 followers and a sovereign divine weapon. Then, did your big brother's cultivation change?" "I am not too sure about this matter. In short, my relationship with my brother is very complicated. Even I can only find out about his background through secret investigations. Do you think we are very sad? We are brother and sister, but we have to be wary of each other." The silver-haired woman laughed self-deprecatingly. "I understand. Not to mention you dragons, even if it is just a small family, brothers and sisters can't avoid scheming against each other. However, are you princes and princesses brothers and sisters by blood?" Qin Feiyang was suspicious. "No. Although we all call each other brother and sister, we are born in different places. I was born in the Silver Dragon clan. My brother was born in the Golden Dragon clan. In other words, we are only siblings in name and have no blood ties," the silver-haired woman said. "If that is the case, it is more understandable. Brothers can't avoid scheming against each other, let alone a relationship like yours." Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. The silver-haired woman smiled. "It seems that you have also experienced these things." "Of course. Who in this world hasn't experienced the fickleness of human nature and the fickleness of the world?" Qin Feiyang shook his head and pondered for a while before asking, "One last question. Is there any news about the fire dragon?" "Yes. I was just about to tell you that it is also with my brother." The silver-haired woman smiled. A piercing cold light flashed in Qin Feiyang's eyes. Since the fire dragon was also there, then this trip to the demonic palace was a must. "Don't worry about it. Because I will think of a way to help you delay the other princes and princesses. In other words, when you and my brother fight, no one will disturb you. The silver-haired woman's eyes also surged with coldness. Qin Feiyang's heart trembled. He smiled and said, "Then I wish us a happy cooperation. Good luck." The silver-haired woman waved her fist and smiled at Qin Feiyang, then the figure quickly dissipated. The white-eyed wolf retracted his gaze and looked at Qin Feiyang. He asked, "Can she be trusted?" Qin Feiyang pondered for a while and said in a deep voice, "From her eyes, I can see that she wants to kill the first prince, but whether she can be trusted or not, I am not sure." "In other words, we have to guard against her?" the white-eyed wolf asked. "That is a must. We can't lose our lives after being used by her. But this woman is indeed a bit difficult to deal with. We have to be careful in the future." Qin Feiyang said and handed the divine sound transmission stone to the sea lion. He smiled and said, "I will have to trouble you to keep it safe for me." "No problem." The sea lion nodded and put away the divine sound transmission stone. He pondered for a while and asked, "It seems that you are planning something. Is there anything you need help with?" "Thank you for your kindness, but not for the time being." Qin Feiyang waved his hand and smiled. The sea lion looked at Qin Feiyang and said, "You think that my cultivation is too weak to help, right? Let me tell you, I also have a backer." "I know, your backer is the beast god." The white-eyed wolf said lightly. "Wrong. The beast god is the overlord of the entire sky cloud realm, but under the command of the beast god, there are 8 beast emperors. The emperor of my sea lion clan is one of the 8 beast emperors." The sea lion looked at the white-eyed wolf proudly. Qin Feiyang heard this and asked, "Are you talking about the sea lion emperor? You know?" The sea lion looked at Qin Feiyang in surprise. "I have heard of him." Qin Feiyang nodded. As early as when he entered the sky cloud realm, he had already heard of the name of the sea lion emperor. It's just that at the beginning, he knew that the sea lion emperor was very strong, but he didn't know how strong it was. But now, with his understanding of the sky cloud realm and the sky cloud sea, he had a rough guess in his heart. Whether it was the sea lion emperor or the other 7 beast emperors, they should all be at the level of Pei Tianhong. The white-eyed wolf suddenly asked, "Is that little rabbit also one of the 8 beast emperors?" N. Qin Feiyang looked at the white-eyed wolf and frowned slightly. "Yes. Originally, they thought that the little rabbit might be the beast god, but not long ago on Heavenly Cloud Island, the little rabbit had personally said that it wasn't the beast god. Then its identity in Heavenly Cloud Sea should be one of the 8 beast emperors." Uncle Rabbit, hearing this, the sea lion pondered for a while and shook its head. "Uncle Rabbit is not one of the 8 beast emperors." "What? No." Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf were stunned. If it wasn't the beast god or one of the 8 beast emperors, then what was its identity? Uncle Rabbit's identity is very mysterious. I'm afraid that except for the beast god and the 8 beast emperors, no one in the sky cloud realm knows. And there is one thing that is very strange. Uncle Rabbit has never gone to other places and has always stayed on Sky Cloud Island. The sea lion shook its head. "I'll go." "Is it so mysterious?" The white-eyed wolf swallowed his saliva. "It seems that this little rabbit is a big shot that can't be provoked. No wonder even the ice dragon can be restrained. However, one thing is certain, the little rabbit has been staying on Sky Cloud Island to guard the spacetime transmission channel to the lower realm." "Wait. Guard? Could it be that it is the guardian of the Sky Cloud realm? But that's not right. The little rabbit's position has always been on the side of the Sky Cloud Sea. If it is really the guardian of the Sky Cloud realm, then it shouldn't have such a position. Because as a guardian, it is guarding the order of the entire continent, not just the Sky Cloud Sea. Perhaps its duty is simply to guard the spacetime transmission channel. I don't understand, Qin Feiyang shook his head and stopped looking for trouble. He looked at the Sea Lion and smiled. According to what you said, can the Sea Lion Emperor help us? If you want the Sea Lion Emperor to help you, then it depends on whether your face is big enough. The Sea Lion smiled. Chapter 3467. Qin Feiyang and the White-Eyed Wolf looked at each other and couldn't help but shake their heads and laugh. How could things be as simple as the Sea Lion thought? Even the little rabbit had to listen to the beast god and was not allowed to intervene in the affairs of the various continents, let alone the Sea Lion Emperor. The Sea Lion Emperor, as one of the 8 beast emperors under the beast god, naturally had to abide by this rule. So, it was impossible for the Sea Lion Emperor to help them. Of course. It was no wonder that the Sea Lion thought so. After all, its cultivation was too weak. Its status in the heavenly cloud sea was equivalent to an ordinary person in a kingdom. Therefore, it could only come into contact with a few things. In its opinion, since Qin Feiyang and the others had such a good relationship with the little rabbit, then the Sea Lion Emperor would definitely help Qin Feiyang and the others for the sake of the little rabbit. It could also be considered a good intention. But then again, after coming to the heavenly cloud sea so many times, he had never seen the 8 beast emperors. Qin Feiyang thought for a while, looked at the Sea Lion and asked, "Brother, where does the Sea Lion Emperor live?" "Lion King Island. If you want to go, I can lead the way for you." There seemed to be a trace of yearning in the Sea Lion's eyes. The White-Eyed Wolf said strangely, "Look at your eyes, you haven't been to Lion King Island either." Cough cough. The Sea Lion coughed dryly, looking quite embarrassed. "You brat, you are a bit treacherous. You obviously want to follow us to Lion King Island to take a look, but you still say that you will lead the way for us? It's as if you are very familiar with the Sea Lion Emperor." The White-Eyed Wolf bared its teeth. "Brother Wolf, haven't you heard of the saying, 'Life is hard, don't expose it'?" The Sea Lion said angrily. "Who are you calling cheap? Are you asking for a beating?" The White-Eyed Wolf waved its claws, looking unfriendly. "Ha ha." The Sea Lion grinned and said, "I really want to go to Lion King Island to take a look. You may not know, but the cultivation grounds of the 8 beast emperors are all holy lands in our eyes." "Holy land?" The White-Eyed Wolf was taken aback and asked curiously, "What do you mean?" The Sea Lion whispered, "I heard that Lion King Island is not only rich in resources but also time array. How can we not envy?" "I see." The White-Eyed Wolf nodded in realization and said disdainfully, "Isn't it just a time array? It's nothing." "Ah?" The Sea Lion looked at the White-Eyed Wolf in astonishment. A time array was just a small matter. His tone was even more arrogant than athlete's foot. "Are you looking down on me?" The White-Eyed Wolf raised its eyebrows and immediately began to form seals with its 2 claws. With the emergence of the law of time, a pentagram appeared in an instant, exuding an obscure aura. "This is..." The Sea Lion was bewildered. The White-Eyed Wolf smiled smugly. It waved its paw again, and the 5-pointed star shone brightly, enveloping the Sea Lion Island beneath it. Several breaths of time passed. The pentagram fused with Sea Lion Island. "You also control the laws of time?" The Sea Lion was bewildered. "Of course." The White-Eyed Wolf smiled proudly and said generously, "I'll give you this time array. Although it may not be as good as the time array of Lion King Island, it's still 500 years in a day." The Sea Lion was ecstatic. It nodded and bowed, "Thank you, Brother Wolf. From now on, you are my brother. If you want me to face east, I will definitely not face west." "Good boy." The White-Eyed Wolf rubbed the Sea Lion's head like a human, and the Sea Lion also seemed very docile. Qin Feiyang shook his head and laughed. Why did it feel like a scene of an old father doting on his son? After pondering for a while, Qin Feiyang glanced at the sea lion and said with a smile, "In that case, I'll help you to the end. We will also turn Sea Lion Island into a holy land for cultivation for you." "Thank you, thank you." The sea lion was overjoyed. He didn't expect happiness to come so quickly. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. With a wave of his hand, a horsetail whisk appeared and he said with a smile, "Help me refine Sea Lion Island." The horsetail whisk immediately released a divine power that poured into the island below. Following closely, Qin Feiyang took out 2 more spirit veins and crystal veins from the Devil's Land. Now, the spirit veins and crystal veins in the Devil's Land had almost reached the level of 9th order divine rank. 2 of the same, a total of 4. 4 of them were enough to change this island. After doing all this, Qin Feiyang sent the horsetail whisk to his sea of qi and looked at the sea lion with a smile. "This island has been refined by the horsetail whisk. Unless it's a sovereign divine weapon, no one can destroy it. I'm so grateful, really." The sea lion was so excited that it was a little incoherent. The time array, the refinement of a sovereign divine weapon, and 4 9th order divine rank spirit veins and crystal veins. Although this island wasn't big, it could already be called a holy land. It was more than enough for it to cultivate here alone. "You helped us, so we definitely can't treat you unfairly. However, you still have to rely on yourself for the road of growth in the future." Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. The sea lion nodded. Qin Feiyang smiled and said, "Then give us the coordinates of Lion King Island. Let's go visit the Sea Lion Emperor." "Okay." The sea lion immediately gave the coordinates to Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf. Lion King Island. Located in the eastern part of the Heavenly Cloud Sea, which was the side close to the eastern continent. Therefore, it was still quite far from the Sea Lion Island. Because the Sea Lion Island was in the western part of the Heavenly Cloud Sea, which was close to the western continent. However, for the white-eyed wolf who had mastered the laws of space and time, distance was not a problem. And the Lion King Island was very big, probably comparable to half of the Great Qin. From afar, it looked like a continent floating on the sea. On the island, high mountains and steep ridges, verdant vegetation, abundant essence energy, and traces of sea beasts could be seen everywhere. However, there were no signs of slaughter here. Everyone was staying together peacefully, making the island appear extremely peaceful and peaceful. Swish! Suddenly, above the island, a spacetime crack appeared. The sea beasts on the island below sensed the aura of the spacetime crack and couldn't help but raise their heads to look, their eyes filled with doubt. Soon, a man and a wolf walked out of the spacetime crack. The sea beasts on the island were stunned for a moment before retracting their gazes and ignoring them. It was Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf. "What do you mean? Do you think we are air?" The white-eyed wolf glanced at the sea beasts below with a look of astonishment. "They must have recognized us." Qin Feiyang shook his head and smiled. It seemed that the entire Heavenly Cloud Sea already knew of their existence. Moreover, the sea beasts in the Heavenly Cloud Sea had no hostility towards them. They also knew that they would not mess around in the Heavenly Cloud Sea. "Come down." Suddenly, a voice full of vigor and incomparable majesty sounded from a giant mountain below. The giant mountain was located in the center of the Lion King Island. Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf looked at each other and flew towards the giant mountain. They saw a statue of a sea lion standing on the top of the mountain. It was about 100 meters high and had both divinity and divinity. It stood on the top of the mountain like an overlord, overlooking the sea. Putting aside its temperament, it looked no different from other sea lions from the outside. However, there was an ice crystal-like jade horn on the head of this sea lion. Below, the majestic voice sounded again. Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf looked towards the direction of the voice and saw a large cave halfway up the mountain. The voice came from inside. One man and one wolf turned into a stream of light and landed outside the cave, looking inside. Inside was a spacious cave. The ground was covered with a layer of water-colored stones. If one didn't look carefully, it looked like water flowing on the ground. There were also many shells and other decorations inlaid on the walls. As a whole, it looked like a water-moon cave. It was very beautiful. On the side of the cave, there was a clear spring that was constantly gushing out. There was a row of stones piled up next to it, forming a pool of about 5 or 6 meters in size. And in the pool, there was a 1-meter-long sea lion lying on its stomach. The hair on its body was soaked in the water and was as soft as silk. Its eyes were sky blue, like the blue sky. On its head, there was a jade horn that looked like an ice crystal. "Come in." The sea lion emperor raised his head and looked at Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf and said. One man and one wolf walked into the cave. "Sit down first." The sea lion emperor pointed to the center of the cave. There was a tea table made of seashells and 4 chairs made of polished seashells. Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf walked over and sat on the chairs, looking around curiously. Although there were no gorgeous pearls, agate, or jade, the colorful shells were also pleasing to the eye. Whoosh! Accompanied by the sound of flowing water, the sea lion emperor walked out of the pool and turned into a handsome young man. The jade horn on his head also disappeared, but a shining jade horn mark appeared between his eyebrows, looking like a delicate crescent moon. The sea lion emperor walked to the tea table and sat opposite Qin Feiyang. He showed a gentle and polite smile and said, "Sorry to keep you waiting." As he turned into his human form, his voice became soft, elegant, and outstanding. "No, no. It's us 2 juniors who came rashly and disturbed seniors' meditation. Please forgive us." Qin Feiyang quickly waved his hand. The sea lion emperor sized up Qin Feiyang. His first impression of Qin Feiyang was very good. He immediately took out a jug of wine and 3 wine cups. The wine cups were made of seashells and were as big as a baby's fist. While pouring the wine, the sea lion emperor smiled and said, "Qin Feiyang's name is like thunder in the sky cloud boundary. In front of senior, it's all just playing house." Qin Feiyang shook his head. The sea lion emperor shook his head and laughed. He returned the wine cup to Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf and said, "Try it. Although it's not a divine brew and can't be compared to your black tortoise divine brew, but if you taste it carefully, you will be able to taste another flavor." "You know about the black tortoise divine brew?" Qin Feiyang was surprised. "Yes. Some time ago, I went to Uncle Rabbit's place to play for a few days. He kept showing off to me." The sea lion emperor shook his head and smiled. "This is his character." Qin Feiyang smiled bitterly, picked up the wine cup, put it on the tip of his nose and smelled it. He then tasted it. The taste was really unique, it seemed to have the smell of the sea. "It's too bad." The white-eyed wolf was quite impolite. He shook his head after taking a sip. First, it was the black tortoise divine brew, and now there was a wine better than the black tortoise divine brew. His mouth has long been picky. Half of the best wine simply couldn't enter his eyes. Hearing this, the sea lion emperor wasn't angry. He smiled and said, "It's a lot worse than the divine brew, but for ordinary people, this wine is almost the same. After all, not everyone can drink the divine brew." Chapter 3468. When Qin Feiyang heard this, he looked at the white-eyed wolf, and the white-eyed wolf also looked at Qin Feiyang. A smile flashed in the eyes of one man and one wolf. It seems that this sea lion emperor is also a wine lover. In that case, why not cater to his taste? Stabilize the relationship. Their relationship with the little rabbit is already very stable. If they have a good relationship with the 8 beast emperors, then the heavenly cloud sea will be their shelter in the future. If they can't beat the dragons, they can hide in the heavenly cloud sea. What can the dragons do to them? Why did you come to Lion King Island to find me? If it's about the dragons, then don't speak, because I really can't do anything about it. Sea Lion Emperor took a sip of wine and looked at the man and the wolf with a smile. No, no. This time, we came here with no purpose, purely to visit Senior. After all, the heavenly cloud sea has helped us a lot over the years. This kindness can't be forgotten. Qin Feiyang waved his hand and said. Sea Lion Emperor said, the one who helped you seems to be Uncle Rabbit. Isn't it the same? Whether it's Big Brother or Senior, they are all members of the heavenly cloud sea. Besides, the sea beasts of the heavenly cloud sea are helping them, so they must have the acquiescence of the 8 beast emperors. Qin Feiyang smiled slightly. Sea Lion Emperor was stunned and shook his head with a smile. I have long heard that Qin Feiyang is a smart person who knows how to repay kindness. Now that I see you, you really live up to your reputation. Senior, you flatter me. Qin Feiyang blushed with shame as he shook his head. After pondering for a while, he said, however, Junior has suddenly thought of a question. If it's possible, I hope that Senior can help Junior answer it. Say it. Sea Lion Emperor smiled. Qin Feiyang asked suspiciously, why are you helping me? Sea Lion Emperor pondered for a while and shook his head in confusion. This is the meaning of the beast god, we don't understand. But there must be a reason. First of all, this Junior is from the lower realms, and has nothing to do with the heavenly cloud sea. Secondly, I can't give the heavenly cloud sea anything. On the contrary, I'll only bring trouble to the heavenly cloud sea. Senior beast god's way of doing things is beyond this Junior's comprehension. If I have to guess, please forgive me for being suspicious. Could this be? When Qin Feiyang said this, he felt a little embarrassed to continue. The Sea Lion Emperor put down his glass and looked at Qin Feiyang in silence. The atmosphere seemed to have changed, but he suddenly smiled and asked, are you trying to say that the beast god has other motives? Senior, please forgive me. This Junior is truly unwilling to think that way. However, since young, this Junior has experienced too many schemes and machinations. Thus, there are times when this Junior cannot help but think in this direction. If I have offended you, please forgive me. Qin Feiyang stood up and bowed apologetically. Don't worry. Everyone climbed up step by step from the lowest level. Your doubts are understandable. Moreover, I also appreciate your straightforwardness. Unlike other humans who say one thing on the surface and another in secret. However, I really can't give you an accurate answer because I really don't know about this matter. I guess Uncle Rabbit should know. If you really want to know the truth, you can find a way to pry open his mouth. The Sea Lion Emperor smiled. Thank you for your understanding, Senior. Qin Feiyang cupped his hands and then returned to the chair and sighed. You should also be clear about Big Brother's temper. If he doesn't want to say something, it's useless even if you put a knife on his neck. Besides, no one in the heavenly cloud realm has the ability to put a knife on his neck. The Sea Lion Emperor couldn't help but laugh and nodded, this is true. Uncle Rabbit's strength is far beyond us 8 beast emperors. Beyond you? The white-eyed wolf was surprised. Yes. Although we didn't hand it over, we always feel a great sense of oppression when we get along with it. As for its specific strength, we don't know. The Sea Lion Emperor shook his head. This is too mysterious. The white-eyed wolf murmured. The more he inquired, the more shocked he was. The Sea Lion Emperor smiled and said, now the dragons are chasing you everywhere. Why don't you stay on Lion King Island? Relatively speaking, it's safer than outside. Thank you for your kindness, Senior. If there's a chance in the future, we will definitely come to Lion King Island. Qin Feiyang smiled gratefully. The Sea Lion Emperor smiled. Qin Feiyang's meaning was already very obvious, and he didn't seem to be afraid of the dragons. In that case, he naturally wouldn't force him. Qin Feiyang pondered for a moment, then looked expectantly at the Sea Lion Emperor and said, "Senior, can you tell us a little bit about the situation of the dragon race and the other 3 forbidden lands?" "No. Don't blame me, this is what Uncle Rabbit told me." "Uncle Rabbit, you can't afford to offend him, and I can't afford to offend him either." The Sea Lion Emperor laughed. Qin Feiyang smiled bitterly. This little rabbit really gave people a headache. In fact, he came to find the Sea Lion Emperor, on one hand, to get to know this powerful existence, and on the other hand, he wanted to inquire about the situation of the dragons and the 3 forbidden areas. He came full of expectations, but the result was nothing. No. It's not that he gained nothing, at least he got to know the Sea Lion Emperor and saw the other party's goodwill. With that thought in mind, Qin Feiyang took out the pot of divine wine and handed it to the Sea Lion Emperor. "This is..." The Sea Lion Emperor was slightly taken aback and looked at the wine pot suspiciously. "Black tortoise divine wine?" "No. If it's black tortoise divine wine, just this pot, how can it be enough to represent junior sincerity? This is junior subordinate, a newly developed divine wine. I heard that it's better than black tortoise divine wine, so Senior, please help me appraise it and see if it's true." Qin Feiyang laughed. "Better than black tortoise divine wine?" There was a trace of surprise in the Sea Lion Emperor's eyes, and he laughed. "Then I really want to try." After saying that, he took the wine pot and pulled out the cork. A dragon shadow rushed out immediately, and the intoxicating wine fragrance suddenly filled the cave. This fragrance, the Sea Lion Emperor was stunned. Seeing this, Qin Feiyang winked at the white-eyed wolf, and the man and the wolf got up and left silently. Sky Cloud Island. There was no place more peaceful than here. Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf landed on the top of the mountain and scanned the surroundings, but they didn't find any trace of the little rabbit. "Wait for me, I'll go find Zhao Si and get another pot of divine wine." Qin Feiyang looked at the white-eyed wolf and said before entering the black tortoise world. The white-eyed wolf glanced at the top of the mountain, walked to the edge of the cliff, and looked down. The mountains were undulating, and the ancient trees towered into the sky. It looked calm and ordinary, but in the eyes of the white-eyed wolf, there seemed to be a sense of mystery. The white-eyed wolf's eyes turned slightly, and like a bolt of lightning, it disappeared into the mountains below. Not long later, Qin Feiyang grabbed a wine pot and appeared from the black tortoise world. Looking around, he was slightly stunned. Where is this wolf cub? Didn't they agree to let it wait here? Why did it disappear in the blink of an eye? Swish! Not long later, the white-eyed wolf rushed up from the mountains below. Where did it go? Qin Feiyang was suspicious. "Don't ask, follow me." After the white-eyed wolf said, it turned around and flew down. Qin Feiyang was stunned, and hurriedly followed. Soon, a man and a wolf arrived at the foot of the mountain. At the foot of the mountain was a dense forest, and the ground was piled with thick piles of dead branches and leaves, emitting a damp and rotten smell. "Look!" The white-eyed wolf stood at the foot of the mountain, pointing at the cliff of the giant peak. Qin Feiyang looked up and saw that there was a cave entrance on the cliff that was more than 10 meters above the ground. The cave entrance was about 2 meters wide and 3 meters high, and it was pitch black inside. "Where is this?" Qin Feiyang was suspicious. "I don't know." The white-eyed wolf shook its head, pondered for a while, and whispered, "But I guess this should be the little rabbit's cave residence. Maybe the little lunatic and the others are inside." "Didn't you go in and take a look?" Qin Feiyang asked. "No. I was afraid of being discovered by the little rabbit. The white-eyed wolf bared its teeth. Qin Feiyang rolled his eyes at it, and curiously looked at the cave entrance. This should also be a cave residence. Could such a place accommodate thousands of people? Could it be that there was another universe inside? Do you want to go in and take a look? The white-eyed wolf asked. Let's go. Qin Feiyang nodded. The little rabbit never let them run around on the island, so it must be hiding some secrets. However, when a man and a wolf flew to the entrance of the cave and were about to enter, the little rabbit suddenly came out of the dark cave residence and stood in front of the cave entrance. Big brother, Uncle Rabbit, the man and the wolf suddenly felt guilty. What do you want to do? The little rabbit raised its eyebrows and looked at them playfully. Nothing, nothing. Seeing that you are not here, we have nothing to do, so we walk around and enjoy the scenery of Sky Cloud Island. The white-eyed wolf waved its paws and laughed dryly. Is that so? The teasing in the little rabbit's eyes became even stronger. The white-eyed wolf's eyes rolled around, and suddenly saw the wine jug in Qin Feiyang's hand. Then, he kicked Qin Feiyang hard and scolded, "Didn't you want Big Brother's wine? What are you waiting for?" "Yes, yes, yes." Qin Feiyang nodded and brought the wine jug in front of the little rabbit. The little rabbit looked at the wine jug and was slightly stunned. The ingrate leaned forward and chuckled. "Big brother, this is a new divine brew that we've developed. We've just brewed it, and we've brought it over for you to try. Look at how much we're showing you respect. A newly developed divine wine?" The little rabbit was stunned. Looking at the wine jug, he glanced at the white-eyed wolf and said, "Don't fool Uncle Rabbit." "How would I dare? Try it and you'll know," the white-eyed wolf said. The little rabbit took the wine jug skeptically and pulled out the cork. The fragrance of the wine immediately surged out. "It's really different from the black tortoise divine wine." The little rabbit's eyes lit up and immediately took a small sip. His entire body was instantly immersed in the sea of wine. Seeing this, the white-eyed wolf rushed towards the cave residence with a swoosh. However, just as it was about to enter the cave, the little rabbit suddenly raised its claws and grabbed the white-eyed wolf, throwing it into the clouds. Chapter 3469. Qin Feiyang looked at the little rabbit in astonishment. This guy's reaction was too fast. He hurriedly looked up at the sky. Where was the white-eyed wolf thrown to? "Little trash, you actually dare to play tricks in front of Uncle Rabbit." The little rabbit smiled disdainfully and glanced at Qin Feiyang. "Big brother, it has nothing to do with me." Qin Feiyang hurriedly distanced himself from this. The little rabbit pouted and looked at the wine jug in his hand. He frowned and said, "There's dragon blood in this wine. Big brother is indeed worthy of being a wine immortal." Qin Feiyang gave a thumbs up. Hearing this, the little rabbit couldn't help but roll his eyes. This flattering skill was too bad. As long as one wasn't an idiot, one could taste the essence of dragon blood in it. "You hunted a divine dragon?" the little rabbit asked. "Qin Feiyang nodded. "Not bad, not bad. You're starting to counterattack so quickly. However, the grudge between you and the dragons can't be resolved." The little rabbit sighed. "I never thought of reconciling with them." Qin Feiyang sneered. "It's good to have such spirit, but you have to act according to your ability. In short, before you have enough confidence, I suggest you confront the dragons head-on." The little rabbit said. "I know." Qin Feiyang nodded. "It's good that you know." The little rabbit smiled and then bared his teeth. "How much of this wine is left? Is it really something you guys researched? This is more precious than the black tortoise divine wine." "Of course it's something we researched. Didn't I tell you last time that I have people who specialize in brewing divine wine? However, there really isn't much of this divine wine now. Because just this jug of wine will take 10 years to brew. Qin Feiyang explained. Counting from the moment Zhao Si asked him for dragon blood, it took 10 years to brew a jug, and 1,000 years had passed in the black tortoise world. In other words, there were at most 100 jugs. Only this much can be brewed in 10 years? The little rabbit was stunned. What do you think? Qin Feiyang felt helpless. All right. This wine can definitely be called a top-quality divine wine. All the wine I've drunk in my life can fill the entire heavenly cloud ocean, but this is the first time I've drunk such a good divine wine. To be able to research such a divine brew, your subordinates are quite powerful. The little rabbit sighed with emotion, looking at Qin Feiyang with eyes full of envy. Fill the heavenly cloud ocean? Isn't this a little exaggerated? Qin Feiyang's lips twitched. The heavenly cloud sea was incomparably vast. Even the 4 continents added together couldn't compare to it. Just how much wine would it take to fill it up? Little brother, we're brothers, right? Suddenly, the little rabbit's eyes flashed as she stared at Qin Feiyang and asked. Yes. Qin Feiyang nodded and asked suspiciously, why? The little rabbit said with a sinister smile, since we are brothers, then your people are also my people. Lend me your winemakers for a few days. Don't even think about it. Qin Feiyang didn't even think about it and directly refused. What a joke. Was the divine brew important? No. Talents were the most important. Only a talented person could brew a divine brew. Otherwise, no matter how many treasures there were, it was useless. Besides, with the little rabbit's personality, borrowing it for a few days? Then it was guaranteed that it would be borrowed and not returned. The little rabbit's face darkened and said angrily, do you still treat me as a big brother? Of course. But that's that, right? I can give you the wine, but the people never think about it. Besides, as a big brother, you have the nerve to come here and poach my people? Qin Feiyang shook his head, his face full of contempt. Hearing this, the little rabbit looked embarrassed and said angrily, who said I was poaching? I'm just borrowing it, understand? Yes, yes, yes. Borrow, borrow, borrow and it'll be gone, I understand. Qin Feiyang nodded. The little rabbit's mouth twitched and snorted coldly, I've never seen such a stingy person like you. It's useless no matter what you say, I'm not lending it. Qin Feiyang waved his hand. Fine, fine, fine. The little rabbit waved its paws, inwardly furious, then this wine, right, what's the name of this wine? Give me some more, how can this little be enough to drink? This wine doesn't have a name yet. As for giving it to you, there's really no way now, when I went to get the wine just now, there's only this one jar in stock. Save it, wait for a while, when there's more in stock, I'll send it to you. Qin Feiyang smiled. In fact, there were dozens of jars in stock, but things that were too easy to obtain did not seem so precious. Hearing this, a trace of disappointment crept up the little rabbit's eyes, nodding, all right, there's still black tortoise divine brew anyway, I'll make do with it. Cough, cough. Qin Feiyang coughed dryly, smiling bitterly, black tortoise divine brew is also a divine brew, okay? Making do with it, you really dare to say that? You know nothing about wine, you don't know that although this wine and the black tortoise divine brew are both divine brews, they're not on the same level. Let me tell you, this wine can be said to be unique in the entire sky cloud boundary. The little rabbit said. It's that amazing? Qin Feiyang was stunned. You think Uncle Rabbit is joking with you? For those who love wine, not to mention a jar, even a small cup is enough to make them go crazy. Forget it, you don't understand, it's useless to tell you. But the name of this wine, since it's the only one in the world, it should be given a more awesome name. Saying so, the little rabbit lowered its head and pondered. Qin Feiyang was speechless. According to what you're saying, just call it the number 1 divine brew. Isn't it just a name? What's there to care about? What's important is the connotation, not the appearance. Number 1 divine brew? The little rabbit was stunned, disdainfully saying, can you think of a more tacky name? How uncultured. How about this, call it the unparalleled divine brew, unparalleled in the world. Qin Feiyang was stunned. Unparalleled divine brew? Isn't that tacky? Why does it feel even tackier than the name of the number 1 divine brew? The little rabbit didn't think so at all. It even touched its chin narcissistically and chuckled, Uncle Rabbit is really smart, to make such a happy decision, unparalleled divine brew. As long as you're happy. Qin Feiyang's face was full of helplessness. The little rabbit grinned, kid, tell your people to hurry up and brew, try to brew a few thousand jars a month. The corner of Qin Feiyang's mouth twitched, a few thousand jars a month? Is it crazy? Didn't I tell it that it can only brew 1 jar every 10 years? Doesn't your black tortoise world have a time array? 1 day is 1,000 years, 10 days is 10,000 years, 30 days is 30,000 years. And 1 jar only takes 10 years, 30,000 years, as long as they don't slack off, it's more than enough. The little rabbit waved its paw and said, you really think of them as wine brewing machines, others also have to cultivate, okay? Qin Feiyang was speechless. Speaking until here, his eyes rolled, and he said, why don't you go to the black tortoise world and help set up a time array that lasts 5,000 years a day? This way, they can brew more unparalleled divine brew and have time to cultivate, not delaying both. After all this time, you're planning this, kid. The little rabbit glanced at Qin Feiyang with a strange expression. Qin Feiyang hurriedly waved his hand and said, absolutely not, I just thought of it. TCH. The little rabbit disdainfully shook its head and said, it's impossible to set up a time array, but if you make Uncle Rabbit happy, there might be a surprise one day. What surprise? Qin Feiyang was curious. If I say it now, can it be called a surprise? Besides, Uncle Rabbit is very unhappy now. The little rabbit snorted. All right, I'll get them to work overtime to brew the divine brew for you. Qin Feiyang's face was gloomy. Why did it feel like he was coaxing a child? That's more like it. All right, hurry up and scram. In the future, other than delivering wine, don't come here blindly. The little rabbit waved its paw impatiently. Damn, heartless. Qin Feiyang cursed in his heart. With a stomach full of displeasure, he soared into the air and stood above the island, sweeping his gaze around. Whoosh! The white-eyed wolf was like a drowned rat, flying over in a sorry state with an aggressive aura. Qin Feiyang stepped forward and grabbed the white-eyed wolf, saying, forget it, don't bother with it. Let's go to the eastern continent. Damn it, if it weren't for giving you face, I guarantee that I'll tear down this sky cloud island. The white-eyed wolf cursed fiercely. Why don't you try tearing it down? The little rabbit flew over. No, you heard wrong. The white-eyed wolf smiled embarrassedly and immediately opened a space-time transmission channel. Seeing this scene, Qin Feiyang couldn't help but laugh. Just as Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf turned around and were about to enter the space-time transmission channel, the little rabbit suddenly asked, boy, did you throw away that golden badge? Golden badge? Qin Feiyang was taken aback. The white-eyed wolf's eyes also had a trace of suspicion. The little rabbit said, it's the badge you showed me when you first came to the sky cloud realm. I also told you that it's a hot potato, so you should throw it away as soon as possible. Hearing this, Qin Feiyang thought for a moment, patted his head, and immediately searched in the universe ring. After a while, a golden badge the size of a baby's fist appeared. It was overflowing with light, and there was a divine dragon engraved on it. You didn't throw it away. The little rabbit smiled meaningfully. Qin Feiyang said, I felt that this badge was very important, so I didn't throw it away. The little rabbit's eyes flashed, saying, since you can't bear to throw it away, then keep it well. It will be useful in the future. Useful? Qin Feiyang was taken aback. You will understand in the future. The little rabbit smiled mysteriously, waved its paw, and ordered him to leave. Qin Feiyang frowned, took the badge, turned around, and entered the space-time transmission channel with the white-eyed wolf. Ice Dragon, this guy, didn't take back this badge? What does it want to do? After Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf left, the little rabbit frowned and muttered to itself. It seemed that this matter was a bit beyond imagination. Qin Feiyang, this kid, besides the power of the purple gold dragon blood, what other secrets did he have? Otherwise, why didn't Ice Dragon do it himself? Chapter 3470. Cloud Sea City, outside the city. There were layers upon layers of mountains and dense vegetation. In a certain dense forest, a man and a wolf walked out of a spatial rift. Not far away, there happened to be two humans and a few fierce beasts fighting. But when they saw the man and the wolf, regardless of whether it was the two humans or the fierce beasts, they all stopped and looked at the man and the wolf with reverence in their eyes. Yes. The man and the wolf were Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf. Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf were slightly stunned when they saw the two humans and the fierce beasts, and then they chuckled and said, "Continue." After that, the man and the wolf were about to turn around and leave. "Brother Qin, wait." Suddenly, the two humans spoke. They were two middle-aged men in ordinary clothes. They were in a sorry state as they fought with a few fierce beasts. Qin Feiyang was slightly stunned and turned to look at them suspiciously. The fierce beasts glanced at each other, turned around, and fled. Obviously, they were afraid of Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf. I really didn't expect to meet Brother Qin here. The last time I saw Brother Qin was when we killed the 10th elder of the Independent Cultivator Alliance. The two middle-aged men didn't chase after the fierce beasts. They ran to Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf with fawning smiles on their faces. It's been a long time since I came to Cloud Sea City. Qin Feiyang nodded and smiled. Actually, they had been to Cloud Sea City when they just came out of the Shadow Demon Land, but they had changed their appearances so that no one knew. "Brother Qin, where are you going?" one of the middle-aged men asked. Qin Feiyang said with a smile, "I'm just taking a stroll." "What's the matter? Taking a stroll?" The two of them looked at each other in dismay. Then, they looked at Qin Feiyang and the ingrate and sighed, "You two are indeed very daring. Even in this kind of situation, you still dare to run around blindly." "What do you mean?" Qin Feiyang was suspicious. The two looked at each other and fell silent for a moment. Then, one of them smiled and said, "Our meeting is fate. If Brother Qin is willing to give us some benefits, we can tell you some important news." "Important news?" Qin Feiyang was stunned. White-eyed wolf said impatiently, "If you have something to say, just say it. If it's really important, we won't mistreat you. It must be very important to you. Besides, we don't dare to speak carelessly before you all." Their expressions were extremely serious, and they didn't seem to be joking. Qin Feiyang sized up the two of them and smiled faintly. "How about this? I'll use 2 heaven-defying legendary artifacts to buy your information." "Brother Qin, you're not joking, right? You want to buy this information with 2 heaven-defying legendary artifacts? Are you trying to dismiss a beggar?" The two of them looked displeased. "Pushing my luck?" White-eyed wolf raised his eyebrows. Qin Feiyang stopped White-eyed wolf and looked at the two of them with a smile. Then tell me, what do you want? 2 heaven-defying supreme-level artifacts. 2 heaven-defying supreme-level techniques and 2 heaven-defying supreme-level support techniques. The two of them thought for a moment and said, "Damn. You still dare to speak?" White-eyed Wolf's eyes were filled with killing intent. He smiled sinisterly and said, "Do you know that we have a kind of control secret technique that can forcibly read other people's memories?" The two of them narrowed their eyes and instinctively felt the threat of death. They hurriedly said, "Lord Wolf, please calm down. Our information is definitely worth the money. Tell me what it is first." Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. "No. What if you don't admit it after I tell you?" The two of them shook their heads. Qin Feiyang smiled and said, "If it's really worth it, I'll definitely give it to you." The two of them were hesitant. Qin Feiyang glanced at the two of them, then looked at White-eyed Wolf and said with a smile, "Let's go." He really didn't believe that there was any information that was worth 6 heaven-defying supreme-level divine objects. "Don't go." Seeing this, the two of them hurriedly stood in front of Qin Feiyang and White-eyed Wolf. "Don't push your luck." White-eyed Wolf's eyes flickered with a cold light. "No, no." The two of them hurriedly waved their hands. Gritting their teeth, they looked at the two of them and said, "Fine, fine, fine. We'll tell you first. How much is it worth?" One man and one wolf looked at the two of them in silence, waiting for the two of them to speak. "The Demon Palace is now looking for you." The two of them looked around and whispered when they saw that there was no one around. "Looking for us?" Qin Feiyang and White-eyed Wolf were stunned. "That's right." One of them nodded and said in a deep voice, and they didn't announce this to the public. They did it secretly, so very few people know about it now. "In other words, they are secretly looking for us?" Qin Feiyang asked. "Yes." The two of them nodded. "Since they didn't announce it to the public, how did you know?" Qin Feiyang looked at the two of them curiously. "Of course, it's because we have special channels." The two of them chuckled. "Is that so?" Qin Feiyang smiled faintly and asked, "Then do you know why the Demon Palace is looking for us?" "We don't know about that. In short, the enforcers of the Demon Palace are now searching for you." "How is it? This information is worth a lot, right?" The two of them looked at Qin Feiyang with anticipation. Qin Feiyang and White-eyed Wolf looked at each other and smiled. They shook their heads and said, "For you to be able to obtain such insider information, you are indeed quite capable. However, you don't know why the Demon Palace is looking for us, but we know. So, do you think this information is still valuable?" The two of them looked at Qin Feiyang in shock. Could it be that this person already knew about it? Actually, Qin Feiyang didn't know about it, but he wasn't too surprised when he learned about it. Because the dragon's first prince had arrived at the Demon Palace, he would definitely think of ways to find him. As for the dragon's first prince, he only brought the fire dragon and 4 followers out. Why would they look for him with just these few people? Therefore, the dragon's first prince could only ask the Demon Palace to help search for him. Facing the dragons, the Demon Palace naturally didn't dare to resist. Therefore, this was to be expected. Although it's not worth much, I still have to thank you for your kind intentions. Consider this a small token of my appreciation, I hope you don't mind." Qin Feiyang smiled and took out 300 pills. There were 100 Life Divine pills, 100 Sky Sun Divine pills, and 100 Origin Sea Divine pills. Each pill had 7 dragon-shaped core energies. One could say that this was a huge fortune. Because the pills on the market had at most 2 or 3 dragon-shaped core energies. For example, these 2 middle-aged men were only at the great perfection imperishable realm. They had probably never seen a pill with 7 dragon-shaped core energies in their entire lives. The two of them looked at the 300 pills in a daze. Thank you again. Qin Feiyang smiled and left with White-Eyed Wolf. Fuck. Are you trying to get rid of beggars? Once Qin Feiyang and White-Eyed Wolf left, one of them was instantly filled with rage. The other chuckled, be content, brother. These are pills with 7 dragon-shaped core energies. Every single one of them is priceless. That's true, but can it compare to an Exalt-grade divine artifact and god technique? No. We can't let them get away with it. That person grunted coldly and flashed towards the city. Where are you going? Don't be rash and come back. Qin Feiyang isn't someone you can afford to offend. Why don't we stop while we're ahead? That person turned a deaf ear to his companion's shouts and obstructions. Fine. You can't blame anyone for courting death. If you don't want it, then I do. The other person snorted coldly. Then, he put away the 300 medicinal pills and turned around to enter the forest, disappearing without a trace. Right after the two of them left, Qin Feiyang and the ingrate who had already left walked out from the shadows. That person is really greedy. 300 pills aren't enough. White-Eyed Wolf's eyes flashed with killing intent. Divine Life Pill, Heavenly Sun Spirit Pill, Primal Sea Spirit Pill, these 3 kinds of pills, needless to say, everyone knew that they were all used to save lives. Especially the Divine Sun Pill and Essence Sea Pill. One was used to repair the Sea of Consciousness, while the other was used to repair the Sea of Qi. The most important thing was the 7 dragon-shaped core energies. Even the core disciples of the various superpowers couldn't get their hands on pills of this level. In short, only the super powerhouses of the various superpowers were qualified to enjoy such pills. It could be said that any one of them could be auctioned for a sky-high price. But that person was different. After giving him so many pills, he still wasn't satisfied. Because even if the two of them split the pills, they could still get 150 pills. A man who is never content is like a snake trying to swallow an elephant. This famous saying made sense. Should we kill him? White-Eyed Wolf asked. No need. This is what I want. Qin Feiyang waved his hand. Huh? White-Eyed Wolf looked at Qin Feiyang in shock. What did this mean? Qin Feiyang smiled and said, there has to be some friction between us and the Demon Palace. Only then will it seem more realistic. I see. White-Eyed Wolf suddenly understood. He deliberately let that person attract the enforcers of the Demon Palace. Let's go to the Black Tortoise Realm for a cup of tea. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. As expected, other than Elder Hua and the others, no one else in the Demon Palace knew that they were acting. So when the enforcers arrived, they wouldn't show mercy at all. Of course. The enforcers wouldn't dare to make a move. After all, everyone knew that they had a sovereign divine weapon. However, they would definitely come quietly to investigate their whereabouts. At the same time, Wind Sea City. In front of the city gate, the 4 city guards each held a Heaven's Eye stone and investigated the people entering and leaving one by one. The current city guards weren't from the Rogue Cultivator Alliance. They all belonged to the Demon Palace. However, other than that, they didn't see any enforcers of the Demon Palace. From the looks of it, it was just a routine check. No one would think that they were looking for someone. Not only the city gates, but even the city lord's mansion looked no different from usual. There wasn't the slightest bit of tension. However, in a courtyard behind the city lord's mansion, there was a murderous aura. Outside the courtyard, 10 black-robed men stood straight and looked straight ahead. Their eyes were incomparably sharp. That's right. They were the enforcers of the Demon Palace. Some had high and some had low cultivation. In the attic of the courtyard, a black-robed old man sat beside the tea table. He looked at the teapot on the table with wisps of smoke floating out. There was a cold light in his eyes. Chapter 34-71. Suddenly, a guard brought a middle-aged man and hurriedly came to the front of the courtyard. He bowed and said, "Greetings, lords." The middle-aged man also bowed respectfully to the 10 enforcers. "What's the matter?" one of the enforcers asked. The guard pointed at the middle-aged man and said, "This person said that he had seen Qin Feiyang outside the city." "Seen Qin Feiyang?" The 10 enforcers were slightly stunned and hurriedly looked at the middle-aged man and asked, "Is this true?" "Yes." The middle-aged man nodded. "Lord, there's news about Qin Feiyang." One of the enforcers immediately turned to look at the courtyard and shouted. The door opened and the old man in black walked out. The enforcers pointed at the middle-aged man and asked, "He said that he had seen Qin Feiyang outside the city." The old man in black's eyes flashed as he sized up the middle-aged man and frowned. "How did you know that we're looking for Qin Feiyang?" The middle-aged man's expression stiffened. The 10 enforcers were stunned and suddenly came to a realization. That's right. Only the people from the Demon Palace knew about the pursuit of Qin Feiyang. How did this person know? Did someone leak the news? Speak. The old man in black snorted coldly. An invisible and terrifying pressure surged toward the middle-aged man. The middle-aged man hurriedly said, "Lord, a friend of mine in the Demon Palace told me." "What friend?" the old man in black shouted. "Just an ordinary friend." The middle-aged man was extremely flustered. Elder Hua and Miss Yun personally ordered that no one was allowed to reveal the news of Qin Feiyang's capture to the outside world. However, this so-called ordinary friend of yours actually dared to disobey the order and told you the news. Do you think I'm stupid? Why would an ordinary friend tell you this? The old man in black said angrily. The middle-aged man's face turned pale. He had not thought of this at all. He thought that he would be rewarded handsomely by tipping them off, but he did not expect that he would be in a dilemma. If he did not tell them, the Demon Palace would definitely not let him off. But if he told them the truth, the friend who told him the news would definitely be implicated. What to do? One of the law enforcers glanced at the middle-aged man and walked to the side of the black-clothed old man. He whispered, "Sir, we'll interrogate him later. Let's deal with Qin Feiyang first." The old man in black took a deep breath, looked at the middle-aged man and asked, "Where did you see Qin Feiyang?" "Just outside the city." The middle-aged man hurriedly replied. "Who else could it be?" the black-robed old man asked. "There's also a wolf," the middle-aged man said. "Didn't you see Madman and Pei Tianhong?" The old man in black frowned. "No." The middle-aged man shook his head. The law enforcement officer at the side asked softly, "Sir, should we report this to Elder Hua?" "Of course. Even if it's just Qin Feiyang and that Wolf King, it's still not something we can handle. Because they have sovereign weapons." "I see, I'll go back and look for Elder Hua now. You guys follow him out of the city to take a look. Remember, you must not let them find you. It's best if you hide in a spatial divine item. If you're accidentally discovered by them, think of a way to delay them. After all, they still have some friendship with our Devil Palace. As long as you don't act recklessly, they probably won't kill you." The old man in black warned. "Yes." The 10 law enforcement officers bowed and replied. A moment later, the 10 law enforcement officers and the middle-aged man appeared in the sky above the forest. Moreover, they also listened to the old man in black and hid in a spatial divine item. No one. Looking at the empty forest outside, the 10 of them couldn't help but frown. "Sir, I really didn't lie to you. They were here before, but they left later on. It seems like they went over there." The middle-aged man pointed to the northeast direction of the forest and said in a trembling voice. When one of the law enforcement officers heard this, he immediately controlled a spatial divine item and flew over there. Along the way, they encountered many beasts and humans. However, they didn't find any traces of Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf. Could it be that they have already left? The 10 law enforcement officers couldn't help but frown. I'll go out and ask around. One of the law enforcement officers' eyes dimmed. He left the spatial divine item and asked the beasts and humans. However, those beasts and humans said that they didn't see Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf. Hence, the group of law enforcement officers controlled the spatial divine item and returned to their original place. Scanning the forest outside, one of the law enforcement officers glanced at the middle-aged man. He then looked at the other law enforcement officers and raised his eyebrows. If he's not lying, then Qin Feiyang has really left. Then, are we still waiting? Another law enforcement officer asked. Let's wait. Elder Hua and the rest should be arriving soon. The law enforcement officer pondered for a while and said. The Black Tortoise World. Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf had been sitting in the tea garden, paying attention to the situation outside. It's been so long. They should be here by now. However, why haven't I seen a single shadow? The white-eyed wolf looked at the scene in the void and was puzzled. Qin Feiyang was also puzzled. Suddenly, he frowned slightly and looked at the white-eyed wolf, asking, could they be hiding in the spatial divine item? Huh? The white-eyed wolf was stunned. He pondered for a while and nodded. That might be possible. After all, they know that we have a sovereign divine weapon and don't dare to confront us directly. Then, shall we go out and take a look? Qin Feiyang asked. Sure. The white-eyed wolf bared his teeth. Qin Feiyang put down his teacup while the white-eyed wolf twisted the wine pot. Whoosh! A man and a wolf immediately appeared in the forest. Inside the spatial divine item. The middle-aged man was thinking of how to escape at this moment. Because, if he could find Qin Feiyang, he could make up for his mistakes. He and his friend might be able to escape this calamity. However, there wasn't even a shadow here. When the old man in black and Elder Hua arrived, they would definitely interrogate him. Especially Elder Hua. As the hall master of the law enforcement hall, he was powerful and resourceful. He would have 10,000 ways to make him talk. Thinking of the consequences, he couldn't help but break out in cold sweat. However, when Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf appeared, a glimmer of hope immediately burned in his eyes. He shouted, Lords, look, I didn't lie to you. They are here. The 10 law enforcement officers were stunned and immediately looked at the image in the void in front of them. When they saw the man and the wolf, they were immediately shocked. They are also hiding in the spatial divine item. We must keep an eye on them. One of the law enforcement officers said in a deep voice. However, before he finished speaking, Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf released their divine senses in all directions. Oh no! The group of people hiding in the spatial divine item immediately changed their expressions. If Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf found out that they were hiding here sneakily, they would definitely not let them off easily. However, it was too sudden. They were completely caught off guard. Therefore, even if they wanted to use the spatial divine item to leave now, it was already too late. The divine senses of the man and the wolf immediately shrouded the spatial divine item. As expected. Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf looked at each other and couldn't help but smile. Then, the white-eyed wolf activated the moment of time and instantly landed in front of the spatial divine item. Then, the law of death rolled out and clawed at the spatial divine item. With a loud crack, the spatial divine item shattered on the spot. The middle-aged man and the 10 law enforcement officers immediately rolled out of the spatial divine item. Law enforcement officers of the Demon Hall. The white-eyed wolf looked at the 10 law enforcement officers and pretended to be surprised. Then, he looked at the middle-aged man and said in surprise, "It's you?" "Lord Wolf, I." The middle-aged man was flustered. However, when he thought of the law enforcement officers of the Demon Hall, he couldn't help but feel more confident. "Did you bring them here?" The white-eyed wolf pointed at the 10 law enforcement officers and asked the middle-aged man. "It's me." The middle-aged man nodded. Although there were law enforcement officers beside him, he was still a little afraid. "You're really something. You took our pills and betrayed us. You're trying to please both sides." A cold light surged in the white-eyed wolf's eyes. "Pills?" The 10 law enforcement officers were taken aback and looked at the white-eyed wolf suspiciously. "Didn't he tell you? Previously, when he saw us, he told us that you were searching for us. He even tried to get us to give him 6 supreme divine items as a reward. However, supreme divine items are not cabbages. Where are we going to get so many for him? So, we gave him 100 divine life pills, 100 divine sun pills, and 100 primordial sea divine pills, all of which had 7 dragon-shaped elixirs. However, in the blink of an eye, he betrayed us and ran to you to claim the reward. He's too greedy." The white-eyed wolf frowned. "What? So many pills, and all of them have 7 dragon-shaped elixirs?" The 10 law enforcement officers were shocked. One had to know that even law enforcement officers like them were not qualified to enjoy pills of this level. Sigh. "We're really blind. We shouldn't have let you go back then." The white-eyed wolf sighed. Then, the corners of his mouth lifted and he grinned. "However, it's not too late to kill you now." Boom! His cultivation of the sovereign realm was suddenly unleashed. The middle-aged man's gaze trembled. He quickly hid behind the 10 law enforcement officers to seek protection. However, the 10 law enforcement officers' eyes were filled with disgust. This kind of person who tried to please both sides was not worthy of sympathy and protection. Moreover, there was a faint trace of greed in their eyes. It was simply a waste of these 300 pills in the hands of this person. However, they did not give up and leave him alone. This was because they still wanted to investigate who had leaked the secret. "Wolf King, please calm down. We mean no harm." That's right. We're not really hunting you down. We're just following orders to find you. Searching and hunting are 2 completely different things. As for why we're looking for you, we don't know either. You'll have to ask Elder Hua. Besides, you're disciples of the Demon Hall, and we're law enforcement officers of the Demon Hall. We're all on the same side. There's no need to fight with each other. The 10 law enforcement officers spoke one after another. No matter what, they had to calm this man and wolf down first. Otherwise, they would not have a good ending. On the same side? Don't you think it's funny that you're saying these words now? The white-eyed wolf's eyes were filled with killing intent. He activated instant time and instantly charged toward the 10 law enforcement officers. Chapter 3, Release at 10 a.m. You're tuning into the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.